All right, we are live on YouTube, so this is a first. Let me go on our YouTube channel and make sure we're actually live, but I click live, so we should be live. Today's the day. It's now 12:03.
Tampering period.
I don't think we're gonna move for at least 15 minutes,
bro.
but
Tampering period's over and done with.
Nah, we're still in it, bro. You saw what Juju said today?
he's likely to
I
sign
think
elsewhere.
he knows he's gone. Like
He told his teammates already he's gone.
Yeah,
he told his teammates.
Posted a very heartfelt goodbye to Pittsburgh.
How much do you think his market's worth? 12 million a year around
I'm
there?
not paying more than that.
I think he's getting 14 or 15.
That's crazy.
That.
I hope the Jets don't give him that. I
I
don't think Douglas would give anybody
Raiders
that.
are set to be front runners right now.
I've heard multiple teams. I've seen the Jets. I've seen Juju might want a 1-year deal apparently to kind of because this year was a good year, but he didn't have he was very limited because Ben and the Steelers offense didn't throw deep. So he had a bunch of receptions, but not a whole ton of yards. Like he still had almost 1,000 yards, but it took almost 100 catches to get there. So I don't know. I've seen the Chargers as a possible option. Raiders, I guess any team has money. These players are going to be linked to.
Well, we got our first signing. Marcus Golden signs with the Cardinals, 2-year deal.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, so 4 minutes ago, right? That was the start?
Yeah, but usually it takes about 15 minutes until a signing elsewhere.
So here's my thing with Juju. I don't think if that story is true or he's going to want a 1-year deal to prove himself and then sign a bigger contract, the next following year. I don't think it's – there's Peter Andersani.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peter Andersani.
And Burger. Burger's in here too.
Oh, Burger's here?
Oh, I miss Burger.
Give a shout out to Andersani and Matthew Garber. Take That L Sports. Go check them out.
Yeah, they're actually
Burgers in here.
Whenever we do that.
So yeah, we actually should talk to them and try to figure something out. Maybe after free agency or pre-draft, post-draft, stuff like that.
I was actually talking to Peter because he wants to come on, but we didn't do a show last Friday, so
we have a lot to talk about. We'll get into it. We can get into it now before more signings happen. Then we'll get to Juju and everybody. The legendary Drew Brees officially announced retirement yesterday, and broke my heart. I've seen some Saints. I think everybody around the league, is sad to see him go, of course, but I know there's definitely people in the Saints community who are happy to, start the next chapter of quarterback. I, for one, was not in that camp. I don't think Jameis Winston's bringing us to the promised land. I don't think he's going to be bad. Whether he's even the starter, now they're saying it's going to be a competition.
I don't know. I think Jameis could surprise us this year.
Well, we don't even know if he's going to be the starter, Markello, because
I'm pretty sure he's going to be the starter.
Now the reports are saying that it's going to be a competition at camp between him and Taysom.
I've seen that. So if you're Jameis Winston, why would you sign back?
I doubt.
If you believe in yourself not to lose your job to a running back or a tight end or whatever.
You guys seriously see the Saints starting Taysom Hill for 16 games at quarterback? I can't.
Well, put it like this, because Sean Payton's going to want to use Taysom Hill in the same kind of packages. So he's going to have somebody else at quarterback if he wants to use Taysom as a tight end and all these things, especially now that the only tight end that's reliable on a roster right now is Adam Troutman, because we let go of Jared Cook and Josh Hill just signed with Detroit and Dan Campbell. You should be confident if you're Jameis Winston that you're an actual quarterback and you can get the job done. Because I think in Sean Payton's system, especially airing out the ball, extending the field, he could do damage. It's just a matter of, is he a playoff winning quarterback? We'll see that if we, could get in there and see what we could do. But I'm willing to risk it, but it's just hard to say bye to Brees.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Jameis. I was sad to see Brees go. It was expected. I guess we had that video, a couple weeks ago where he was working out and it was like, oh, maybe he's coming back. But, I guess we all kind of thought he was going to retire all along. Drew Brees is probably the greatest free agent signing of all time. So,
yeah.
It's sad. I mean, one of the guys we grew up watching, Peter, especially because he's a Saints fan, is gone, and it is kind of sad. Drew played in the era. I don't think he's gonna get his proper recognition with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Aaron Rodgers. He won't be forgotten. I think if he played in 10 years before, I think he would be in the top 3-4 conversation of quarterbacks of all time. Some people have.
So let me ask you guys something. Let me ask you guys. I was going to ask that. Where do you guys have him ranked in terms of quarterbacks all time? In what range?
I'd say like 5 to 11.
Yeah. He can't crack more than 5. Listen. You can't say top 3.
I get all the stats and everything. I love Drew Brees. It's just like I'm talking about like 10 years down the line. I don't think anyone outside of Saints fans are going to have him in their top 5 by consensus.
Well, that might be because, maybe a lot of people didn't watch him growing up as much as Saints fans would have. But if an unbiased fan just did research NFL history, greatest quarterbacks of all time, just looked at the numbers. Obviously, the Super Bowls are outliers because it's Tom Brady and then really nobody else, unless you want to include like Bradshaw and Montana.
Mm-hmm.
But Bradshaw and Montana, they don't go anywhere near Brady or Brees' stats or even Peyton's stats for that matter. So take Super Bowls out of it. At this point, you can't dispute Tom Brady just with all the accomplishments he has under his belt is the GOAT. But how do you not have Drew Brees in your top 5? I can't name 5 quarterbacks that have been greater than Drew Brees.
I'd say you could be 5. Could be 5.
So who are the 4? Brady won.
Jack Barrett just signed back with Tampa.
Really?
Yeah, that was expected.
Yeah, it was expected.
Much.
Surprising.
Numbers out yet?
No. But the top pass rusher, number 1 guy is off the board. And Tampa was somehow able to keep their 3 big free agents.
Yeah. But they're going to have to let people go. It's not going to be for nothing. They're going to have to address edge rusher probably in the first round. They're just going to have to take best available edge rusher because I don't think JPP is going to be there.
Well, that's fine, honestly. I'm like
no, I know, but you still have to replace
him. Might be there, honestly, but
they could still use help at tackle.
Yeah,
defensive tackle.
But it is pretty remarkable that they were able to keep Godwin, Shaq Barrett, and Levante David. And this is something that the Saints, speaking of just like Drew Brees, because everyone always mentions like how the Saints always had, the last couple of years of the, 4 or 5 year window. I'm not saying has that. Just saying like in order for you to have that, you need to have a quarterback like Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. It's not like teams like Jacksonville when they had Blake Bortles; those are like outlier years. Like the Bears with Trubisky, the Bears are trying so hard right now to get a new quarterback because they had a window, but it looks like it closed. This might be like the last chance for them to get. I mean, Peter, I was talking to Markel before you joined, and now we're live, so we can talk about this. I think if the Bears, because the Bears are like the team actively trying to get a quarterback right now. I think if Russell Wilson, I don't think he's getting traded, but if he were to get traded, I think it has to happen within 24 hours.
These next 24 hours?
24 to 48 hours, yeah, right now.
I don't think that's going to happen right now. There's no shot.
And Russell Wilson's not getting traded if it doesn't happen now.
I didn't think it was going to happen this offseason to begin with. I just think the rumors got stronger and stronger over time. I thought Watson would have gotten traded, but not Russell Wilson.
Well, Watson, he's still like the same boat. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen eventually. I just not right now. But just for like, so what do the Bears do then?
Well, look at the end of the day, still swing for the fences and try to get Russell Wilson. At the end of the day, you have to at least try because for as long as Aaron Rodgers is in that division, which I don't think he has that many more years left in that division, I think due to the fact that San Francisco's holding on to Jimmy G for now. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback if it falls to them at 12. And I don't think they're going to, there's rumors that before Cam signed to the Patriots that Jimmy G would have gone to the Patriots, some kind of trade scenario. I think a realistic possibility is whether it's next offseason or the season after, the Packers are going to get antsy with, even though it's not Rodgers' fault, not getting over the hump of the NFC Championship game, right? Let's say they get back there again and still don't win it. Or even if it's the divisional round, don't win it. Like if the Packers don't get there, they're going to want to start seeing what Jordan Love has, sitting on the bench 2-3 years. And I think Aaron Rodgers want to go play for San Francisco when Jimmy G's tenure is done. As of right now, obviously this is like 2 years away, but that's how I see it playing out.
It could happen.
But like just for right now, because Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are probably not going to be here in 2 years for the Bears. So
well, that's why they're willing to swing for the fences and give all the picks because they're not going to be your picks anyway if you don't do it.
But at what point? I mean, I know they don't have a lot of money for agency, but at what point do they kind of just like pivot and go to the next option? Like, I'm not saying there's a lot. There's not.
Option would be what? Sam Darnold,
Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know. Like it's not. But like Ryan, these are not great.
These are not great options. 5 weeks. They'll be fired within 5 weeks.
But that's what's going to happen anyway. That's why they're so desperate for a move.
Well, that's why you make it happen. Because at the end of the day, you know, just listening to Nick Caserio and just the Houston Texan front office, it started off at the very beginning. You know, he's going to be our quarterback. He's going to wear our uniform. Week 1, he's there. And now it's starting to be, you know, as of right now, he's our quarterback. And, you know, it's little by little they've accepted it because we know about like the, you know, the late night conversations that Watson has had with them in front office saying that it's just not going to happen to trade him. And as we get closer to the end of April, I think it's, you know, your front office. Look, let's not think that these people are idiots. You know, these are grown men. They've been around the league for a while.
The Lions just signed back Romeo Aquaro. So 3 years, $39 million.
$39 million. How much of that is guaranteed?
13 a year?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How much guaranteed?
Hold on. It does not say guarantees yet. But what is it? It's $13 million per year. So the edge rushers are going to get paid. Like Shaq Barrett, his contract hasn't come out yet, but I'm guessing that's in the 20s, 19 or 20.
Oh man.
So the pass rushers are going to get 15 or more, like Carl Lawson, who's ever up next. Okoro is a good player, though. I didn't expect him to get 13. I was thinking like 10 or 11, but wow.
Oh, did you guys see this report from Pro Football Talk just now?
No, what is it?
Bucks likely made Shaq Barrett an offer and made it clear if he doesn't take it by 12 Eastern Monday, they're shopping for his replacement. And that's why it was so fast.
I was seeing, I mean, this didn't happen because they got Shaq Barrett back, but like I actually did like the possibility of them signing Bud Dupree to replace him on like a 1-year deal. But obviously the Bucks don't have to worry about that because they got their guy back.
They kept most of their people. Of their people. They're going to lose an edge rusher or two, but you could always find that in the draft. You still have your picks. You can give up all your picks.
Now
and you're going to bring back Gronk and AB for cheap. What's up?
You're the Chiefs. You just cut your 2 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you signing?
Honestly, any offensive lineman I can get because
are you going for the premium or are you just getting 2 like sufficient?
You can't afford the premium.
You should try for the premium, right?
You could afford it, but then you have nothing.
Who's the premium to you? Yeah, who's the premium to you?
Like it's only Joe Thuney and Corey Linsley. That's it.
Yeah, like the top of the line.
They'll be able to sign 1 tackle, and they're gonna have to draft another.
And I think they will at 31. It just
a little move out of
you can't start 2 rookies at tackles and expect to make a Super Bowl.
Apparently, they liked Lucas Niang, who they drafted last year. He opted out, but apparently they like him to possibly start at one of the tackle spots next year. I just seen that when they released Fisher and Schwartz, but
I think Lucas Niang was a giant at one point.
What happened?
Pretty sure this guy was a giant at one point.
Was he? No, I think he was a rookie last year.
Let me check. The name just sounds so familiar.
But yeah, the Chiefs, because they're also losing their starting center.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so the Chiefs are replacing 3 or 4 starters. I don't think Assembly's also a free agent, right? Who got hurt last year? I think he's also a free agent. So like, if he doesn't come back, it's 4 out of the 5 new starters, which is crazy. But this is kind of what happens, and this is why Russell Wilson's kind of was complaining, and I don't think he wants out, but maybe he does in the future. But like when you pay a quarterback so much money, like and if the team doesn't like prioritize drafting offensive linemen, it's not going to work out. Like you're gonna have to cut guys. Like the Chiefs have to cut Fisher and Schwartz because they have to get under the cap. And I mean, what do you guys think? Like I think that's a tough. Like the Chiefs are really good, but we all kind of know their holes like defensively, and now with the offensive line, it's going to be. I still think they're going to be in the playoffs. I just think it's going to be tough, depending on what they do from here on out.
I think the problem was that we all proclaimed them a dynasty way too early, just because of how good Patrick Mahomes was, and then reality set in. We're like, oh, like we kind of just ignored that you've been an average defense at best this whole time, and now when you start losing, offensive line pieces because you paid Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Kelsey all this money, and now how much longer is Watkins going to be there because he barely plays as it is, and when is Nicole Hardman finally going to take that step up because we're still waiting for it? Because you can make a legitimate case they need a solid wide receiver too right now because all they have is just speed guys who can't really hold on to the ball.
Yeah,
in a way, it works for them though.
What happened?
But like, in terms of a dynasty, I think Peter's saying like it's gonna be tough.
We were saying, they're gonna win it every year.
But in a way, they like that's how it works for them. They use like their gadget guys and their speed guys, and
well, it's gonna work. Like they're gonna cause teams issues. It's just like, are they gonna? I don't think they're gonna go back to the Super Bowl this year. I mean, that's a very early claim right now, where free agency hasn't happened yet. But just based on the moves, I think they're going to the playoffs. I think they'll win a playoff game or have a bye. But I just
the Bills have to have a really good off season to really like make me think that the Chiefs aren't going back.
Not really. The Bills were really close, dude. All they need to do is bring back most of the guys and then add one or two more playmakers.
They did bring most.
They signed all their important guys back before free agency, and I will say that they got them at under the market value. They signed guys back cheaper than what they would have hit if they would have
all these guys. Yeah, all they need to do is address. They need another playmaker besides Stephon Diggs on the offense, especially because
they need a run
John
game.
Brown going.
They need a run game bad.
Get a solid running back. Get a decent wide receiver too. You don't need to spend top of the market Juju type guys. You don't need that. You just need a solid number 2 option, and like you said, a running back, and then maybe get another corner.
Like a Curtis Samuel on that team would go crazy.
Here's the Shaq Barrett details: 4 years, $72 million with 36 fully guaranteed.
That's good for both sides.
So they got him back at 18. So when you're measuring Shaq Barrett to Romeo Caro, 18 versus 13, I like Romeo, but I'll take Shaq.
Man, Leonard Williams better get 25 off his mind then.
Dude, I would honestly, we talked about this. Like, I like
25, bro. That's crazy.
Man, I did not like Leonard toward the end of his time here, but he was not like a bum that people claimed. Like, he was good. It just, he never actually got to the quarter, like sacks wise, but he was good with pressure. I would pay him like 13 or 14. I have no interest in paying him 20 or 25. I would literally rescind the tag.
Dude,
I would
even go as high as to give him $17 million a year if you really.
Okay, if you want to go that high, all right. If you have a plan for him, which they do, Patrick Graham. But if not, and still nothing's getting. But this would happen today, from like in my opinion. I would sign a pass rusher and try to bring back Dalvin Tomlinson at like 9 or 10. But you guys aren't going to do that.
Yeah, I told you guys last night. I told you guys, no, we would have to make a lot of moves, like restructure contracts and.
Markello, if you give Leonard Williams $17 million a year, I promise you, in just a year from now, you're going to be like, "Oh my God, how do we move off this contract? We have more moves to make. We have more holes to fill, and this just ties us up." At this point, just cut your losses. It was a stupid decision to trade, the pick you did for him, and then not be able to resign.
He had a good year. That's what's like even more like annoying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he showed promise. Like he plays well.
But don't dig your hole deeper than it has to be.
He's a good player, but he's not a great player. That's why he's nowhere near worth $20 million per year.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like, I wouldn't even pay him $15 million a year.
That's why I said I'm comfortable with like 12 to 14 range. It's still a lot, but I do think he is a very good player. It's just like he's not going to be great for you. And you know what's annoying? Like we always talk about like what teams are going to be aggressive, right? And it should be teams with rookie quarterbacks, like the rookie quarterback contract. Like this should be when the Giants go all in for Daniel Jones, and this is the time to build the Super Bowl.
I think we know. I think we know it's.
No, I know it might be like, no, we know it's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, like Dave Gettleman, he's definitely on the hot seat. I mean, I think
he's gone after the season.
So do I. But you would think then he would get aggressive and try to, help.
I think
you got to get this team to the playoffs right now.
I think Judge is also having like a big, like saying what's going down, like kind of like this is my team type of deal. So he's not letting Gettleman go crazy and do anything stupid.
Well, I told you guys this in our group chat, I think either yesterday or 2 days ago. I really don't know why, out of, the past few months with the Watson rumors and now with the Wilson rumors, that the Giants have not been included in any of it. Because I think they're the perfect landing spot for one of those two guys.
I mean, that would
think about it. You give up Daniel Jones.
At the very
you give up Daniel Jones, you give up Saquon, maybe 2 picks,
and
then you have your franchise quarterback. You draft a running back in the 3rd round, and you have no losses. It's as if you only upgrade.
I think it would have been possible if Gettleman was fired already and they had a new GM coming in right now. But
that's nothing. Gettleman should have been fired 2 years ago.
He already committed to Daniel Jones, didn't he?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is our guy. For this,
Gettleman shouldn't have. the second he drafted Saquon Barkley, he should have been fired. And that's no offense to Saquon Barkley. And I know Giant fans are going to get triggered by that. But regardless of how good of a prospect he is, he could have been, Reggie Bush coming out. It was essentially he was. He was getting that kind of hype, the Reggie Bush kind of hype. And you can't, when you need a quarterback, you had the last year Eli Manning, you don't draft a running back at number 2 overall, especially in that quarterback class,
Look, man, in all fairness, it was either Saquon at number 2 or Sam Darnold, and I think I'd rather be on the Saquon.
No, but it didn't have to be Sam Darnold.
It would have been Sam Darnold.
I do think he could have turned out different. I mean, I want him off the Jets right now, but like I do think his career would have been much different. Maybe not in terms of like being an elite quarterback, but I think he would have been.
I don't know about that, man.
He would have been regarded as at least a solid quarterback elsewhere. Because, like, dude, there was no worse spot, than what Josh Rosen, Arizona, and then here, Sam Darnold and the Jets. Like, those were just bad. Like, I'm not – like, there's bad and there's, like, what we had. It was, like, for 3 years, man, we didn't do anything to help. And, it's sad that I don't – but you guys know my stance. We've been very clear on this. So you're talking about they should have fired Gettleman if Saquon Barkley gets – when he got taken at 2. And the Jets do not take a quarterback at 2 unless they get Watson. Fire everyone in this organization.
I don't know why. You really think they're going to take a tackle at 2?
No, I'm just saying if it's not a quarterback, fire everybody. I don't care who it is. It could be a Pro Bowl caliber player. Like it could be Jamar Chase, who's an awesome player. Kyle Pitts, who shouldn't be taken that high, but he's also an amazing player. If you don't have a quarterback that you're excited about, forget it.
But Douglas knows what he's doing. We know he's going quarterback.
I agree with what Colin just said. The Giants were not in that much of a better situation when you guys drafted Sam Darnold as we were.
That's a true statement, but like
he wouldn't have been, I think, as horrendous, but he still wouldn't have been anything great. Like
maybe you don't trade Beckham. Maybe you don't trade Odell then. What happened to Sam? Because that was the year before. What happened to Sam Darnold and Beckham had a great connection?
I don't know.
Like that's a legit possibility.
There's no way of knowing.
Odell was so amazing.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing it.
We can play what if game all we want.
Awful, but
so like this is similar, right? So the general consensus is that if you're a quarterback needy team and you're picking in the top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5, whatever, and the essentially number 1 rated quarterback is still on the board or number 2 quarterback still on the board, and not only do you ignore that, but you go a running back of all positions, because I'm sorry, but running backs, you see Kamara behind me, I love him, but it's easy to replace, right? Look what happened when Leonard Fournette got traded, right?
Hello, Niners fan. We're going to take all your players today. Or this week.
When Leonard Fournette left Jacksonville, they find James Robinson out of nowhere, and he did better than Fournette ever did. So you don't waste number 2 pick on a running back.
Broncos. I actually agree with that. I don't know if he's talking about in the past or now, but Peter is a big Drew Lock guy, and I think that'd be if he is talking about Deshaun Watson, I think that'd be a great spot for Watson. Peter, what do you think? Because I know you move on from Drew Lock if you're getting Deshaun Watson. So,
well, no, yeah, of course. But my thing was with Drew Lock for Broncos fans is he was injured a lot of the time, and it was like his sprained right throwing shoulder. There's not much you could do. His offense was never all healthy all at the same time, and even the defense that was supposed to be underrated coming into last year all got hurt. Right, so I just wanted to see one full season, like a full 16 of Drew Lock at his best, the offense on all cylinders and the defense on all cylinders. And of course, injuries happen, but they got depleted on both sides of the football.
So we have a Niners fan in here.
That's not happening.
Niners would actually probably be the most fun.
I'll say this. I think there's a better chance he goes there than the Bears. I always see the Bears like we brought up the start of the show is like who are the Bears going to get. I really don't think the 20th pick does anything for anybody. I think like there's always and like maybe 12 doesn't at least, but like if I was because like there's a kind of consensus that everyone thinks that Watson's either staying a Texan or being a Jet or Dolphin. Like we mentioned the Panthers, the Niners would be the team after that I can see as like the real dark horse team because I would trade Nick Bosa, 12th overall, 2nd round pick, and a first next year.
Can I tell you something though? But I could see why you would do that, but I don't think Lynch would do that.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
They're also like they're done with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
don't say they're done because they could have easily moved off of him this year.
No, they're trying to. There's just no alternative right now. There's no other legit option.
Ryan, there's a ton of legit options.
Well, like who, Fitzpatrick and these guys?
No, Fitzpatrick and these guys. You have two top 3 quarterbacks available on the trade market right now, which has never happened before.
No,
right?
I know they can't they're not going to trade Russell
Well,
Wilson.
Russell Wilson's not going in division.
Yeah, within the
So-
division.
No, but I'm just saying,
Take that
like,
out from there.
But even Watson, like, if you wanted to swing for the fences for Watson, you have more than, like you said, like what the 20th pick would give you, 20th pick, Khalil Mack, whatever it would be. Do you think the 49ers will sign anybody?
They don't have a lot of money.
Better. They're depleted on defense. That's all I could say.
That
I do
secondary is
think-
going to all be out the door.
I think
Yeah.
they signed back Trent Williams, if that counts as a signing.
If they sign back Trent Williams, that's a big W.
If they don't, because he's getting like 20 probably million per year. You know what? I could see the Niners signing Juju Smith. I know
Really?
he has not
No,
been
I
linked
can see
yet.
it.
Nah, honestly, I think if any team's going to be like a dark horse, I don't know how the Ravens like cap room is. I could see him being a Raven.
He would be a good fit
Juju?
on the Ravens.
Yeah, Juju
He'd
on
be
the
a really
Ravens.
good fit on the
I can
Ravens.
see that.
The thing is, we don't know what his motives are. So is he just going to chase the bag? Is he going to go to a contender? So, like a prove yourself kind of deal where, an offense could really make the most out of him? Is he?
I was seeing a 1-year deal for
I mean,
Juju.
I wouldn't be surprised. Juju seems like a spiteful guy if he wanted to stay in division and see the Steelers twice a year.
The thing
And
is, I think he's a better
people
fit for
love to do
Baltimore
that.
than Baltimore is for him.
Say
Yeah,
one more
I
time.
That
don't-
makes sense.
Say that
for it,
again.
Ryan.
We didn't hear you.
Oh, no, I said I think Juju fits Baltimore more than Baltimore fits him. I think they could use his run blocking ability. I think him running drag routes would be good for their offense, but I just don't think they could get the most. Like, if he was looking for a 1-year deal to put up numbers, that
Mhm.
offense is not the one to do it in.
I mean,
because
yes
they have,
and no,
like,
because
they have-
he didn't
They have a lot of guys.
He
Oh, you're
didn't
talking about the
become
Ravens?
wide receiver one.
Oh, actually, my bad. I thought you were talking about the Niners. You're talking about the Ravens, though, for Juju, right?
Yeah, the Ravens for Juju.
Yeah. He'd instantly become wide receiver one. So
Yeah, because Hollywood Brown's always going to be a deep guy, so he's not going to get like the volume that Juju would get. But I think Peter's
Juju would
talking
literally
about
get every
Juju
little
probably hit it
short
like Juju can hit like 90 catches or more in like a more like. What do you guys think of the Chargers fit with Justin Herbert?
But here's the thing. I think, like you said, the Chargers or the Niners, I think that's something he would also consider. He's a California kid. I think he's from Long Beach, right? So
Yeah,
going
he
to
is.
one of those West Coast teams, Chargers, Raiders, Niners, I could see it all being a possibility. And to be honest, for all 3 of those teams, I think he'd put up better numbers than he would do on the Ravens. The thing is, we haven't heard rumors about where – I know I've seen a lot of Jets fans saying for Juju, but we haven't really seen, like, realistic, preferences or what he's looking for.
another good point by Colin. Playing with Lamar, you get talked about more.
And yeah, that's true. I mean, he doesn't really need to like. He's
No,
already
of course
won.
not. He's TikTok famous and he's doing all these things, but like the brand, helping your brand is never a bad thing.
I know, but it's not about his brand at this point.
It's
about putting
not like
up.
he's going to a bad team. Like this team, it's still going to be in the playoffs next year. So
Well, they desperately need a player like Juju. I could see the Ravens.
if they have money,
That's what I was saying.
wouldn't be
I
surprised
think
if they go
Juju's a
back
great
at him.
fit for them. I think they want him. I think that's the kind of
Depending on the
receiver they
price,
need.
because the Ravens are usually pretty smart about what they do. Like if we're talking Juju 14 or more, I think the Ravens are out.
You don't think they would go up to like 16 for him, like a 4-year, 64 mil?
They
Like
can't. They have too many hosts to fill in their front seven now. They let two. They're probably going to let. We talked about this in a prior episode a week or two ago. They're going to let Judon go. Ngakwe is going to walk.
I love
right?
Judon coming to New York.
They need to fill these holes.
What's your team? Your team or my team?
My team, bro. My team.
I actually don't want Judon. He's like the one. Like I don't hate Judon. It's just like
He's a little bit older. That's the only thing. It's like 20,
he's 29. I think he's a better 3-4 outside linebacker than he is a 4-3.
We have another
defensive
deal.
end.
Former Jets
Who is it?
offensive lineman Pat Eflin reached agreement on 3-year, $13.5 million deal with the Carolina Panthers. $6 million guaranteed.
Pat Alfon. He's one of the first signings. Guys, he
Yeah.
legitimately is not. He's not good. Like I'm being serious. He started.
I
a
wish
few
I could
games.
tell you. Go for it, Ryan.
He started a few games for us, and there are some plays like when you watch that he'll actually throw down a defender, but he gets like he's good in the run game. I'll give him that. But as a pass blocker, man, he gets straight up like bullied every play almost.
So I wish I could just tell you that signing was like just for like depth purposes or whatever. They gave him $6 million guaranteed, $13.5 million. So he's going to be. They plan for him to start there.
At least for a year. Yeah. To be a starter.
So we know they're not going offensive line number 8.
My cousin Colin, he's a Jet fan, so take him. Yeah. I honestly thought he was gonna get like the vet minimum, to, like maybe sign back here. I didn't think he would be like a priority for teams, but
dude, I'm just waiting for a big name. These little names aren't.
Shaq Barrett was a re-signing.
Yeah, that was a big.
We haven't had that big right signing elsewhere yet.
For like a Joe Thuney, like a Corey Linsley.
But usually some of the big names take time.
Kenny Galladay.
That
Kenny Galladay, like a nice deal with the Giants, something.
Let's bring him up since he wasn't franchise tagged, and he's probably the number 1 free agent, I guess, ranked. Where do you guys see him going? I've seen him linked to the Giants. I've seen him linked to the Jets, which I don't think that's true, but we'll see. I've seen him linked to Miami. There's been ties to I think Jacksonville. Because Trevor Lawrence likes those type of receivers. I don't know. I feel like any team that with money is going to be linked to Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I'd say whoever has the money and is willing.
Yeah.
The Ravens.
He's getting 18,
Ravens reports.
18 or more per year for sure.
Well, that's another thing.
I can't see going lower than 16.
If you're going to pay 18, if you're going to pay like 17, 16 for Juju, would you rather just throw in the extra $2 million a year for Galladay? I would.
Yeah, I would personally, but
I think Galladay is a better player than Juju.
But like I said, I think Galladay might end up on one of these teams that are, picking, closer to the bottom of the draft, where it's like, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, just the teams that need a number 1 receiver and are going to have young quarterbacks who need the number 1 receiver.
So what you're saying is the Giants should maybe call him?
It's not going to happen when they give all their money to Leonard Williams.
Sorry. Look at you see, like $3 million right now before we rework the deal with Nate Solder.
Dude, why did you keep him over Zeitler? I know Zeitler didn't have a great year last year, but he was definitely probably your best offensive lineman, and he didn't get like a.
He's going to regress really hard, though. I don't know.
I understand, but like Nate Solder, you can't even call that regression 2 years ago. That was just straight up bad.
Yeah, he also hasn't played in how long?
Oh, he opted out last year, so it'll be 2 years.
Yeah.
Packers.
It wasn't even good. Has it started yet? Yes,
it has. Started 35 minutes ago, and we haven't actually had a huge signing yet. We had a couple re-signings. Shaq Barrett, if you missed it, Romeo Okwara, and Pat Alfine signed with the Panthers. And if you're asking who's that, I don't blame you. Michael Berger. What's up, Berger?
Yeah, so I think we have $2 million in cap space right now.
You just have to do some Mickey Loomis type stuff and give a backup player a $140 million deal.
No,
really $12 million.
Main big restructures that need to happen are probably Bradbury, Solder.
But where did all this money go to? Who's getting paid on the Giants besides Blake Martinez and James Bradbury and Williams?
Nate Solder, Leonard Williams. Saquon's has a $10 million cap hit.
I would just trade him right away.
You're going to have to pay him soon.
Sterling Shepard has a $10 million cap hit.
Are you paying him personally?
Who?
You. If you were in charge of the
Giants, for an extension next year.
He's gonna get good money, but he shouldn't be expecting crazy money like Kamara money.
Of course he should. No, of course he should.
That's what he's gonna get.
Yes. I think he's gonna pass Kamara money.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
I think so.
I'm not paying more than Kamara money for him.
So you trade him right now.
Call up Houston, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Why are they not in the sweepstakes? You have to pay a running back over $15 million a year. In a year, you're gonna have to pay Daniel Jones in whatever 2 years from now.
We're not paying him, bro. He's gone. He's not.
So then trade him and get the top 3 quarterback in the league. Any top 3, whether it's Russell Wilson or it's Watson.
That's not realistic because of Gettleman. I know it makes sense.
That's the problem. He shouldn't have even been in a place of authority. He should have been fired 2 years ago. I'm not saying just for the Saquon pick, but I'm saying before he even had access to that draft class.
Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. We're in the situation.
So you guys, I thought the Giants had about close to $20 million in I guess I'm wrong. So the Giants are not going to be players.
Well, yeah,
free
no,
agency?
we did. We had 20 million, and then we put the franchise tag on Leonard Williams,
So
and that
what
was
that?
19 point like something in itself. And then we had cut Zeitler, and that's why we opened up 3.
Wait, you only saved $3 million by cutting him?
I don't even know, dude.
I do know you reworked Soldier's contract. I don't know if the numbers were official.
It still didn't come out. It still didn't hit yet completely.
All right. Well, apparently he took like a huge yes at him. He took like I think it was 10 or more saved the cap.
Good, bro. He needs to. He's not worth it no more. James Radberg needs to get reworked. Blake Martinez needs to rework.
Well, Bradbury, yeah, because if you're trusting these guys are going to be here in a couple of years, then you rework their deal. If not, then you're just like pushing dead money into the future, and it's still going to come up.
Sorry, cap space is a myth. You'll be fine.
The cap space is only a myth if you can still draft well. Like if the Saints didn't have a class like 2017 where they had Ramczyk, who else was in that class? Lattimore,
Kamara.
Yeah, you have to draft well. So like that's when it becomes a myth because you are going to lose. Like the Saints ended up keeping all their
We're just losing our depth.
And franchise tagging Marcus Williams. Yeah, you're losing your depth, which is honestly not that big of a deal when a team like the Saints can draft well. But if you can't draft well and you don't have a quarterback, cap space is very real.
Well, dude, it's not even a matter of drafting well.
Enter New York.
All of our depth on the defensive line, some of those guys are undrafted free agents.
That's what I'm saying.
They were like our star players.
Your scouting department's done a hell of a job. And if you need to draft well because when you're signing players, then the draft becomes even more important when you don't have, cap space. Teams like the Jets in the past where you dishing out contracts to Tremaine Johnson, we're still paying him dead money. So like these contracts are very real, unfortunately. You just have to make sure when you're signing a player that they're going to be here and they're worth the contract.
Look, the real issue is going to be for the Saints now in the first round. At first, we had the luxury of looking at linebackers, but linebackers nowhere near in need now as much as it is for like defensive line help, whether it's a defensive tackle or another edge rusher, or we don't have a cornerback 2 now. We need to replace a cornerback 2. So now I'm looking at the players like Asante Samuel Jr. But then at the same time, like, am I going to waste a first-round pick on a number 2 corner? Or just get a number 2 corner in the second or third round?
Good player is a good player, so.
I know. It's going to be best available. It's not going to be position-based. It's going to be best available, but I see the first-round pick for the Saints this year going either defensive line or in the secondary.
Oh, so the Giants have $10 million in dead money.
I can guarantee
in dead money.
More than that.
Yeah, we have $10 million in dead money right now.
The dead money gets affected. It takes away $10 million from your cap space.
Yeah.
And like who's the culprit of that? Is Zeitler?
Golden Tate had a $5 million cap hit. Yeah, DeAndre Baker has like a $3 million cap hit.
Another Gettleman decision.
Has
both of those were
$5 million cap hit. Oh my god.
Dude, how concerning is that, man? That's like DeAndre Baker is like what happened with Isaiah Wilson. It's weird they both went to Georgia, but like first round picks that were completely just blown after 1 year.
Ryan, you reminded me of something.
I committed a robbery on 2 fronts, bro. Robbed the fake AP and then robbed me of $2.5 million.
Because the year you traded back into the first round to get him, so you had 3 first round picks that year, and it was Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, and DeAndre Baker. And Dexter Lawrence is a player. Go ahead.
Mentioning Isaiah Wilson, right? So I want to do, whether it's next week or the week after, just a post free agency, another mock draft, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of Isaiah Wilson, who's now a Dolphin, right? Do you think they have high hopes for Isaiah Wilson? Granted, considering it's really his second year and first round pick, the whole 9, and they'll go Jamar Chase or just an offensive weapon, Chase or Pitts at 3, or do you think it's still going to be Penei Sewell at 3?
I've always said I think it's Jamar Chase. I said that since the start. I know. Do
you think the trading of Isaiah Wilson solidifies that?
No, it wouldn't solidify it because it's a flyer. It's really only a high risk, not even high risk. It's a high reward because there is no risk. You traded a 7th round pick. You swap 7.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, do they plan on starting him at right tackle, and then they're like, okay, we could go and get ourselves number 1 receiver if they don't land like a Galladay?
I think they'll bring him in for competition. I don't think they can rely on him right now as of this moment. Like they'll bring him in if he wins the battle, then he'll start. But I don't know. I feel like the Dolphins. So I had always thought that we'll bring up a free agent who re-signed Aaron Jones yesterday, who signed back with the Packers.
Yep.
I didn't think he was going to re-sign unless he got tagged, and then I was kind of surprised that he did sign back with the Packers yesterday. I thought he was going to the Dolphins for sure if he hit free agency. So speaking on that, I do think the Dolphins will pivot today to maybe another kind of receiver. There's been talks about Galladay. I mean, do you guys get that fit? Because like they have Galladay would be the best receiver, right? But like they would
Similar
have
to Devontae Parker.
Yeah, and even Preston Williams they're all big body guys. Like they need some speed on that team on the outside, especially for Tua. Tua is not a jump ball guy. Like you need Tua wants separators. So I don't understand Galladay there. Like it would be a good signing. I just wouldn't understand it from Tua's perspective. But maybe they are getting Watson, so you don't know. But if they're keeping Tua, it makes no sense to me. But I don't know. Going back to what you said, I think they're going Jamar Chase even now. But
I still think
Wilson.
If I was them, I would still go tackle. But I could see more likely now why. I wouldn't be surprised if it is Chase. But now pivoting to the Packers, right? We're talking about Aaron Jones. I was talking about this, with my cousin Nick yesterday, and I was telling him the re-signing of Aaron Jones and giving him all that money just solidified to me even more that Aaron Rodgers won't be here in a year or two. Because now you look back at last year's draft class again, you make the NFC Championship game, right?
Yep.
You're a game away for the Super Bowl. And we know Aaron Rodgers wanted another weapon on offense, and then we know that they needed linebacking help, or just anything to stop the run game. We knew what the weaknesses are. The whole world knew, right? They got blown out twice by the Niners. We knew what it was. They needed one more receiver, and they needed a better run-stopping linebacker. And you go into the draft, right? For first free agency, you didn't address those things, right? So then you go into the draft, and they're like, okay, first-round pick, they're going to take, there's still receivers on the board. It was a good receiving class. And they trade up, they take Jordan Love, right? So we're like, oh boy, here's the future replacement. They're going to do the Favre Rodgers baton pass thing, right? Then in the second round, you come around again. I'm like, okay, this is either going to be a receiver now for Rodgers to help him get over the hump, or you're going to address your defensive problems. And they go A.J. Dillon. So they're already thinking of replacing Aaron Jones in the second round from last year. So now, obviously, Jamal Williams, they're going to let walk. It's going to be Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. But if I'm Rodgers, I'm pissed. Not pissed. Obviously, you keep Aaron Jones. Yeah. You love Aaron Jones, but the no help from the front office.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Like Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers are actually pretty good friends. I do think Rodgers kind of, I don't want to say pushed for him back, but I do think he wanted him back. But I do agree with you in the stance of like their draft last year was it was essentially useless to that championship
run. Out of
all
7 rounds, they don't have any starters. Nobody from their draft class is starting.
I do like the pairing of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, but at the same time, I'm not taking a second round pick to be, a guy I mean, the Packers do split. Like they don't really have Aaron Jones would be the workload, but like they do distribute it pretty evenly. Like Dillon might get the red zone reps now, but because Jamal Williams is obviously going to be leaving. But yeah, in terms of that draft class, like they could have done so much more. Especially, I think that was like the greatest wide receiver draft class in like 10 years, and they just didn't even draft one. I mean, not necessarily. I don't think that was their downfall. I think it was more their defense. But
they didn't even address that.
Yeah, anything would have helped other than signing. And then what do? They drafted a fullback / tight end right in round 3.
Yep.
Didn't even play, and Jordan Love, of course. So I get what you're saying.
Walk.
It is tough though to let a guy who just won MVP out your door anytime soon. Because like there was some chatter about that to start the offseason, and then it all shifted to Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson. I think that kind of died down.
Well, it's because I think Rodgers, I'm not saying it's going to happen, obviously. I still think it might even take 2 years, but you know how NFL front offices are. You traded up in the first round to draft a quarterback. They're itching to start him and see what they have in him.
Yeah. Do you think they were shocked last year that they made the championship game again?
Yeah, because look, the reason why they took Jordan Love is because the season before last, so 2 seasons ago, Aaron Rodgers had a bad year. It was a down year. He didn't look the same. He wasn't taking risks. There was a lot of checkdowns and safe plays. And front office saw that. They probably got frustrated. It was the first year with LaFleur. LaFleur was probably frustrated himself. And, I think Jordan Love was getting the same kind of hype that Trey Lance is getting this year. That's another thing we could talk about, Trey Lance's pro day. That was the other day. But I think they're itching to see what they have in Jordan Love, because coming out of the draft, people were like, oh, he still needs a year to sit and all this stuff, but he has Mahomes-like qualities. They're already comparing him to Mahomes last year coming out. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the Packers, they're certainly interesting. Do you think they make any moves today? They don't really have a lot of money, but
No, they don't. Once again, which is why I think Rodgers wants out. He's going to want out, if not already.
That's like the weird thing about this free agency with the whole cap lowering about what 20 or 30 million than it did, because every year you expect it to go up, right? But with the pandemic last year, it went down. There's essentially like 10 teams who are kind of useless on day one or more, or I guess they can make a signing, but like not like the splash signing, Like let's speak about some of these. Like, what do you think Jacksonville does, right? Because they're the team with the most cap, right? They're getting Trevor Lawrence.
They need offensive line help. They need offensive line help.
They go all out in free agency, sign like a couple big guys?
I don't know if they go all out in terms of like big guys, but maybe like a Kenny Galladay, and then like maybe it's like little things like what Miami did last offseason, where you get a few average guys or like good guys, not great but good, and you just build an all around balanced team. You don't really have superstars, but you have guys who know their role and know what to do.
So
because they're young Jacksonville, so bring in some veterans.
The signing, but the Jets, Vikings, Browns have all shown interest in adding Trey Hendrickson from the Saints.
Who's interested in Trey Hendrickson?
The Jets, the Vikings, and the Browns.
He's gonna ask for a lot of money, Ryan. I know you guys need an edge rusher, and he's good.
Yeah.
But
I like Trey, but if you're offering me, I would take Carl Lawson over him. I would take Yannick over him. I would take Bud Dupree over him. And I would probably, I wasn't say Romeo, but he's not available. But would I be mad? No. But am I interested in paying him 14 or 15 million per year, which he might get now? No. We can do better.
So far we're just seeing interest. We're not seeing any.
The Vikings don't have any money, do they?
The Vikings? I don't think so.
That would for me be between maybe the Jets down, but I don't know. I actually wasn't expecting to be that interested in Trey, but who knows? Well,
the Saints play the Jets this year, so if Trey Hendrickson goes to New York, he'll get his.
I don't care. I don't care about that.
We need a revenge, but it'll be a thing, I guess. So the offensive lineman that just signed with Carolina that we talked about, the former Jet,
yeah.
The Dolphins and 49ers were amongst the other teams interested in signing him.
So someone, I don't know if he's still here, but that Niners fan, when he asked about free agent signings they should do, like if they don't get Trent, even if they do somehow, like I think they need to get interior offensive lineman help, man. Like they need a center. Richburg is going to have to retire. I don't know if you guys seen that with his injury. He's been hurt like the last 2 or 3 seasons with them ever since he signed with the Giants. The Niners love to do that, man. They always sign these injury-prone guys, and they always get injured with them.
And then they wonder why they have like no one playing at the end.
Yeah.
Like, oh, where's the team, man? Like where'd they go? Like, bro, half your team is on IR right now, dying.
The Niners always do that every free agency class where like you're not expecting a player to go there, and they always sign someone like Jerry McKinnon, right? It's like, oh, bang, that came out of nowhere. They just love to do it. I think they're going to do it again today. I'm predicting Juju there. Like that's just I don't know why. I just have a gut feeling that it's going to happen.
I just wish we had an idea as to where Juju wanted to go. Because I think honestly, if it was up to him, best case scenario for him, he would have stayed in Pittsburgh if they would have offered him even like a few million less than other markets.
Yeah, but he's going to get much more because the Steelers have no cap space.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why he's leaving, obviously. But I'm saying like if the Steelers offered him like, let's say, $12 million a year, and then the Jets offered him 14. I'm just making a random example. I think he would still choose the Steelers.
Oh, I don't think he's declined
with the less money.
$1 million plus New York.
Kyle Long is going to work out with the Raiders and the Chiefs.
The Chiefs could certainly use the help right now. They need to get as many people in as possible. So the Raiders also just they traded Trent Brown and they released Gabe Jackson, right? So the Raiders also have some. And dude, let's bring this up. Let's bring up the Raiders, right? Because for anyone who doesn't know, because I don't think we've only been on a year. So me, Markello, and Peter used to do this at my school's cafeteria every year. And I think I'm right, man. I think John Gruden and Mayock have been terrible. I'm gonna be straight up honest. All their signings from 2018 are gone off the team. Their first round picks are terrible. They're terrible. I like Josh Jacobs, but he's the only one, and he's not.
Arnett was such a waste of a pick.
Yeah, and even what's his name, the safety the year before, Jonathan Abram. I liked him coming out. But
he's good. He's just always hurt.
Dude, he's not even that good though. He can't cover. He just hits hard. Like he doesn't do what the modern NFL wants a safety to do. I think they should be fired after this year if they don't make the playoffs. And I know they're in a couple. Yeah, probably both of them, because it'd be one thing if the Raiders are drafting well. And I'm not even talking about John Gruden's offense, because it's not bad. I know it's like you can blame it all on the Raiders defense. It's terrible. But I'm looking at their draft class, throughout the last 3 years. Like I feel like they won the Khalil Mack trade right at the start from the process, and then they failed with all the picks. So they failed executing all those draft picks that they got for Khalil Mack. I don't know. Like I don't think the Raiders are good.
Well, Ryan, you know where I stand on this. I think I told you this a few years ago. I said that I don't know about Mayock, but because I even said this from before Mayock, joined. This is just Gruden. I don't think Gruden's going to be let go until
what year
gets at least.
Are we entering year 5 for Gruden or no? Or is it year 4?
It's either 4 or 5.
I was ready to fire him after year 2. For anyone watching this, I was like, after year 2, I was like, this guy is not it.
No, but I thought they would have moved off of Carr by now, and it's no offense to Carr. It's just when you inherit a team, and especially when you get a 10-year contract to rebuild the franchise, you usually pick a quarterback you want, not the one you inherit. So I think before Gruden ever gets fired, I think the Davis family is going to allow him to give it a few years with a new quarterback. So Derek Carr is obviously still going to be the Raiders quarterback this year. He might be the quarterback again the year after. We don't know. But I think Gruden's going to get a chance with a new quarterback whenever that time comes. So I don't think Gruden's going anywhere anytime soon.
I think they got to give the NFL what we want to see and send Derek Carr over to the Patriots.
Hey, man.
That hasn't been rumored enough. He's not a slouch.
Yeah, Derek Carr has been the only surprise. Nice. He's been the only surprise for me. Markel has been a big fan of him, for anyone watching. He has been, even the years he was struggling. So he's definitely bounced back. That's been my only surprise with the Raiders. Like I feel like everything else I've gotten right. But like Derek Carr, I can say I was wrong about Derek Carr. He is pretty good. He's been the only fun thing I watched about the Raiders the last.
I would sign myself up for some Derek Carr as a Giants fan.
Really?
Maybe next year if the Raiders go 7-9 again, which is probably likely.
But why not just go in for Watson then? If you're in the quarterback,
they still have Gettleman. Like we understand the process. It's just like we have Dave Gettleman's still the GM. He's not going to do that. It's not realistic. That's the thing. Like we can talk about it like right now, but it's just not going to happen. But
that's just so cool.
I don't know if you guys saw also, by the way. So Shaq Barrett's cap hit for the 2021 season is only $5.6 million.
That's why when teams sign players, especially teams who have money, or even if they don't, year one of big contracts typically tend to be very cap friendly. So like even the teams who don't have a lot of money, you can structure it in a way that pushes the money into, year 2 and year 3.
Now, are they even going to have money to re-sign AB and Gronk? There's no way.
For minimum deals.
AB's getting the minimum. He's not signing elsewhere, I don't think. A lot of teams.
Gronk will come back for anything just to play with Tom.
That's crazy.
That's the power of having like a star quarterback.
Yeah.
Not like a good quarterback. I'm talking about like a star.
Well, we're talking about the greatest of all time right now.
Yeah, exactly what Peter just said. The Tom Brady effect is real in Tampa, for real, bro. Like the Tom Brady effect is real.
T.Y. Hilton just came out and said that the Colts told him that they want a chance to match any offer.
Are you guys surprised by that?
They don't have anyone else playing wide receiver like other.
T.Y. Hilton's not the same though. We saw it all last year.
Of course, he's not the same, but like at that point,
ended strong.
Are they going to turn over the keys to Michael Pittman Jr. as wide receiver 1?
I like Pittman.
Not yet.
Right now, year 2.
Well,
not yet.
Not wide receiver 1, but we can give him a bigger role than what happened.
No, that's fine. Bigger role. Like you want your second year guy to take a bigger jump, but definitely not wide receiver 1.
So the Colts they actually have a lot of money. I think they're 3rd or 4th in the league. You see them going after? Can they go after Kenny Golladay?
I think they would reprioritize to like defensive needs.
I think if they dish out a lot of money, but the thing is, they're so thin a wide receiver. So
yeah, they're so thin.
If they lose out on T.Y. Hilton, I think you can't exclude them from the Kenny Golladay race. But it looks like that they want T.Y.
Well,
for
Galloway's
cheaper.
You also, yeah, but you also like they're picking what 21st in the draft, so
Yeah.
there's going to be a receiver on the board. They got their quarterback issue sorted.
But what do they do at left tackle
You
though?
wanna go for
Because
tackle? If you want to
yeah.
go for the tackle spot, but I don't know. I don't think they'll make a big play on him. Maybe they'll get like a smaller contract guy, like a mid-tier receiver.
I mean, there's a couple of receivers I could see them signing, like Curtis Samuel. I could see them going after. I don't want to say a big time. Like they're still high quality players.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to backtrack to the beginning of the show, Ryan, when you were saying that you think if Russell Wilson does get traded, it'll be within the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
This Pro Football Talk just tweeted this. They said the official launch of negotiating window could spark more unofficial trades if teams can't address their needs via the open market.
So Peter,
maybe
we
do
actually
see some
mentioned
trades.
this on the show. I mentioned it to Markel before we went on. So just speaking of quarterbacks, right? Because I think we brought him up, but not for this. Sam Darnold apparently could be the next domino to fall from Albert Breer this morning. 8 teams have called about him.
Yeah,
Do you think Sam Darnold is the next quarterback domino to fall?
I think he has to be. Who else is there that has to go?
Well, I guess you can count free agents like Fitzpatrick and these guys.
All right, maybe. Well, the thing is, I don't think a team wants to sign
from like
Fitzpatrick
a
until they
trade.
know.
We're gonna assume Jameis signs back with the Saints, right? In this, so like after that, it's does Marcus Mariota get cut or released or traded, and then I think after that, it's only Ryan Fitzpatrick as a possible starter.
Oh my God! Jonnu Smith
whoa.
signed with the Patriots.
Yeah,
4-year,
$50
million. $50 million. Jonnu Smith.
Wow,
31 guaranteed.
That's crazy. You know what, dude? That's such a typical like Patriots move.
He's Jonnu Smith is a really good player. I really wanted him.
That's actually really good for Cam. It gives Cam someone to throw to.
And even if it's not Cam, like just to have him there for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big. So here we go. Now, Bill's trying to win right now. He doesn't want no rebuild. That's not a rebuilding move.
No, I mean they already got what's his name. They got Trent Brown back at right tackle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots are they're going to get some weapons. There's rumors them about trading Gilmore. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but the Patriots have a ton of money too. They're one of the teams who are in top 5 in cap space. Jonnu Smith, and I know they were hurting bad for tight ends ever since Gronk left the last 2 seasons. I know last year they tried
now too because wasn't Jonnu wanted from at least New York Jet fan Twitter?
Yeah, I heard the Jets. I heard Buffalo. I heard a lot of teams were probably in on Jonnu because just how honestly he's one of the best tight ends after the catch. Like if you have I think if the Patriots can use him correctly, or not the Tennessee didn't, but you what I'm saying, you could put him in a bigger role.
We talked about this in our free agency episode.
He'll be a much better player or a much bigger name, I guess, from according to fans.
I mean, look, if they're giving him 4-year, $50 million, he's going to have a big role.
Oh yeah,
that money. Bill Belichick's not giving you that money just to run block and.
No, Josh McDaniels knows how to use tight ends though. When he had Aaron Hernandez and Gronk, like they're a team that they'll use their tight ends if they have it. So
when's his former teammate?
What do you guys think about AJ Green?
I don't know, man.
Where do you think he's going?
A playoff team. It has to be because there's no point in him going to any of the teams picking in the top 10. We mentioned the Packers.
He's not going to get the money.
Yeah, he's not. I'm not paying AJ Green a lot of money. So, if I was him, I would try to go to a playoff team.
Could AJ Green be a Colt?
Maybe even Buffalo. Now that they got rid of John Brown for I don't know.
There's the Ravens could get him on a super cheap deal.
Ravens, if you want to stay in the division. The Ravens do like their bargain signings, but at this point,
be a ridiculously cheap deal.
At this point, I would still, if I was the Ravens and I was doing that, I would still have to sign a big free agent or draft one in the first round because I'm not going to make excuses. Like I'm not going to. I need to give Lamar Jackson, our quarterback, actual weapons because I don't know if AJ Green is still. He wasn't AJ Green last year, so I wouldn't be relying on him to be, a big difference maker.
So now, how long do you guys think before we see a Corey Davis or a Curtis Samuel signing?
Probably a few days.
I don't know. But are you guys shocked that Tennessee because Tennessee do have money. Are you shocked they let both Jonnu and Corey Davis leave? Or going to?
I don't think Corey Davis was what they wanted him to be.
Oh,
But this past year,
another
I know
signing.
he's good though.
Panthers are in talks with a deal with veteran offensive line Cam Irving. Framework is a 2-year deal worth $10 million, $8 million guaranteed. He last played for the Dallas Cowboys.
So the Panthers are just signing budget guys.
Well, the Panthers, yeah, but they're signing strictly offensive linemen. They're the first ones to get some of these offensive linemen off the board in free agency. So
almost like they're going to take a quarterback at 8 and want to build it up for him.
Look, if they don't trade for one, they're drafting one at 8. They're building everything around him now.
So, do you guys think it could be Mac Jones? Because I think so. I've said this. You can go back to our first mock draft when we did this, and this wasn't a popular take at the time. I put Trey Lance, and I think I convinced you guys to take him at 4. And I think that's where he's going in the actual NFL draft too.
If Trey Lance falls past 4, a team is going to end up trading up for him and taking him.
Yeah. And I think Trey Lance gets taken
whether
before
it be the Niners, whether it be,
Can I ask you guys something?
Do you guys agree with that then? That Trey Lance goes before Justin Fields in the NFL draft?
I think it's a possibility.
You know me, Ryan. I love me some.
I know
Markel's been on it, but like
I was you don't gotta tell me, dude. I love hearing this. Keep going.
When you guys watch this pro day, right? When you guys watch this pro day, obviously we have the 2019 tape to look at, but specifically the pro day, and you could even include the 2019 tape. Who's your comparison? Because I just watching over highlights and lowlights of Trey Lance, right? Watching even the one game he played this year that wasn't good and he didn't play good, and then the pro day, I only see one quarterback.
Are you thinking?
So who's your comparison? No,
really.
I don't think Josh. I don't think that's a good comparison either.
You guys aren't going to expect.
That's the only thing. He has like arm strength, but he's quick too. He's so shifty.
Honestly,
if you guys put him in a uniform, right? If you put him in a uniform and there was no name on the back, didn't tell me anything, I'm going to be like,
I think he's
comparable. Who signed Colin Kaepernick?
Really? No way.
Colin Kaepernick on a football field.
I honestly was thinking Jordan Love, but like a faster version of him. Just I guess because last year
is
biased.
This kid is Kaepernick all over.
You know who reminded me of Kaepernick actually when I watched him from his throwing motion? Kellen Mond. Did you watch any of him?
Yeah.
When Christian put him at 4, I had to start watching. I was like, all right, what? Because I didn't watch any of Kellen Mond before that, and not in terms of speed, but like Kellen Mond's throwing motion is like Kaepernick.
Yeah, I could see it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm watching, football in 2012 or 2013, watching Trey Lance play football.
He's running over all the teams, like in the Packers in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, so I don't know. I didn't watch his entire pro day, but from what I saw, it looks like his deep ball is still isn't there completely. He's on and off on that one.
It's weird. So he was lights out on the left side of the field. There was that was his best throw of the day.
That's his favorite side apparently. They were saying the left side.
The right side he missed, but it wasn't crazy inaccuracy. He was only by a yard or two. So that could be receivers. There's different factors to that.
He didn't want
to exciting. He definitely had a good pro day.
He didn't want to run the 40 though. He actually put on a little bit of weight. It looks like he got a little bit bigger.
And his throwing motion actually it improved. It didn't have to, but that's something he worked on. I think this whole entire year while he was off with his quarterback coach.
And obviously, throwing with no pressure or whatever, but it looks like he was moving around. He looked like he was moving very fluidly. You know what I mean? So I'm very high on Lance. I love the guy.
So you think you like the fit with Atlanta at 4?
With Atlanta, yeah, I do. If you give him a year to learn the offense and just chill out behind Matt Ryan, I think he can do something real special.
I agree. I think that'd be, and then you would have Calvin Ridley. I don't know if Julio's going to be there in a year, but
probably maybe. Who knows?
Maybe, but even if he's not, there's still weapons with Atlanta, and I like Arthur Smith as well. At this point, I would just keep Julio too. I wouldn't be trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, Peter, I think you're muted.
You're muted.
There we go.
My bad. You guys hear me?
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
Just saying what you guys are saying. I still think Atlanta goes QB at 4, but I do think there's a path that Arthur Smith doesn't go quarterback.
David Godchild just signed with the Patriots as well. 2-year, $16 million.
So the Patriots are the first active
team.
That's
crazy too, because I remember the Dolphins had cut Van Noy, and I was reading how they needed cap space for Godchild. I was like, oh, this is obviously for Godchild. Guess not.
What did you guys think of that from the Dolphins? I Van Noy is probably the most surprising cut for me, this offseason. It's not that he wasn't I thought he was pretty good last year, but in terms of him being like a leader and everything, Miami and Flores, Patriots guy, I was on with. I mean, I know they traded for McKinney yesterday from the Texans, but and I actually do like that.
And I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, it just like in terms of like the leadership.
Dude, we see how much this franchise has improved, like with Flores coming in. So whatever this guy's got to do, whatever he thinks is going to take him over the hump, like I guess we just got to sit back and just enjoy the ride.
I have no questions about Flores.
Yeah, what they're doing down there.
Very good coach. I do have questions about Chris Greer as the general manager. But the Dolphins, that was just shocking. But the Texans are having like a for sale sign besides Watson, I guess. They're trading away players with like high salary cap, anything with value. They're just trading away.
Shout out my man Mark Ingram.
Yeah, 1 year, $3 million.
Securing the bag.
So you think it's going to be a race, right, between them and Detroit for the number 1 and 2 pick next year?
I don't think Detroit's going to be as bad as everyone thinks.
I don't know. Especially letting Galladay go, man. Like,
everybody.
Their defense is terrible. Their offense, they have no wide receivers right now.
I'll tell you right now who would.
Their offensive line sucks.
I'll tell you right now.
I think I'm the only one in the camp. Well, one, I think Detroit should trade down, but the only way if Rashawn Slater is somehow, some way still on the board at number 8, I'm taking him in a heartbeat from Detroit. Or 7, rather, wherever they're picking.
I think he will be there. So
I'm taking Rashawn Slater at 7 then if I'm done. That's just me.
I mean, you could argue.
I've not seen that in
the Lions have so many needs. Like, if they were going to keep Galladay, I would say, okay, maybe do that. But I feel like they have no wide receivers. Like, they signed Tyrell Williams before free agency, but, like, I can't count on him to stay healthy or be anything more than number 1 or 2.
But if I'm them, I'd rather if you're not going to go offensive line, right, and you know set in stone you want to go receiver in first round, I'd call up the teams in like the low teens, and I'd say like San Francisco, whoever it is, pick of the litter, right, and be like, do you guys want to jump in front of Carolina for Trey Lance or Justin Fields, whoever's still there?
Yeah.
I'll trade down a few spots, and then you take Jalen Waddle wherever you fall.
Well, they should hope Fields falls to them, so they have some flexibility. I wouldn't even consider taking Fields, honestly. Like, I know Detroit.
Mock draft where I had them taking a quarterback. Yeah. I don't think so. I think they're going to write out.
No, I don't think they will, but I would consider it because I know it's a bad situation right now, but you would hope that, and he could sit behind Goff, so like you could try to go all in next year with having Justin Fields. So I don't. Then again, I am expecting them to pick number 1 or 2 next year overall in the draft. So like, they're going to have to value.
You
like,
have that, and then you also have Ryan. I don't know.
You got to watch out on that one, man. They're going to go out there and bite some kneecaps off, so they're going to get a few wins. So
no, but it's just a matter of like how do you expect to improve the team if you're not signing anybody, you're letting people walk, and you're wasting your top 10 pick on somebody who's going to sit.
No, I understand, but like,
where are you going to get better then?
Well, for the future, they're not going to be good in the.
What's the future, Ryan? Because you have Jared Goff, right? You have no offensive line. You're letting Galladay walk.
Jared Goff, I can tell you that right now.
No, but my point is that if you take Justin Fields, let's say at 7, if you're Detroit, okay, you're wasting a first-round pick, a top 10 pick on something that could help build a foundational piece, right?
Well, okay. I don't want to say
you're not making any moves in free agency.
They could, though.
It just started, but
yeah.
I think their star signing was Josh Hill.
Well, signed back their pass rusher, Okoro. A little bit of an overpay probably to keep him, but like he had a good year last year.
And then I just don't see it. I think if you're gonna rebuild the right way. Don't waste your picks on positions you already have. Jared Goff's your bridge quarterback. He could be that for 2 years if you needed to. Build a team around Goff with what you can, and then when time comes where you need the cap space or a quarterback's available, or you're just ready to make the push to win the division, that's when you finally let go of Goff and you substitute him with whoever you end up drafting, trading for, or signing.
See, that's the other thing too. I want to ask you guys: if you're Jared Goff, how many years does he have left on his deal? 2, 3?
He has,
I don't know.
I think 3. I think only 2 guaranteed or something.
So yeah, all right. So are you playing your heart out for like these 2 years because you're out the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Or
you're playing your heart out regardless, but yeah.
Okay.
Close on my Goff?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're Jared Goff, are you like putting your best foot forward with this franchise and being like, all right, like I know I'm out the door.
Well, he's not saying that. In his mind, he's the franchise quarterback. In his mind.
Yeah, for now.
I mean, he's got the bag already. I know what you're saying, but I think he'll still want to play elsewhere when he finishes with the
like,
Lions.
yeah, like he's guaranteed his money at this point. Like, does he really need to try? But that's the only thing. Like him wanting to go elsewhere.
Well, not even about him trying. Like Detroit are so bad. Even if he was trying 100%, like what are they going to do this year? Like there's literally. I know I like DeAndre Swift. I like Hawkinson. Outside of that, there's nothing on offense. Like they have a
defense. Let's not forget, ready?
Literally nothing.
Let's not forget Jared Goff was
the
put in
defense
the
is probably
best
worse than
situation
the
he can.
offense. The defense is worse than the offense for Detroit right now. That's hard to say. It is. At least for the offense,
they have nobody.
I have 3 good pieces in offense at least.
But look, if you're Jared Goff, you got put in the best situation. Besides the Jeff Fisher year, right? Sean McVay comes to the building. In a single year, he revitalizes your career and the whole franchise, right?
Yeah.
Because the Rams hadn't been that good since like Kurt Warner. So you get your offensive line. You have prime Todd Gurley, pre-knee injury. You have your weapons. They drafted Cooper Kupp. They signed Robert Woods. You had your weapons, right? You had Brandon Cooks there for a period of time. And that's when Brandon Cooks was still considered to be Brandon Cooks before the
he's still good. He still gets 1,000 yards every year.
No, yeah. All due respect, I'm just saying, that was – I wouldn't say Brandon Cooks is still in his prime right now. I'd say his prime years was, the New Orleans, New England.
Yeah, wouldn't be in his
prime.
He's still a 1,000-yard receiver on the right team.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But it was the perfect scenario. You had the defense, right? You had Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator. You guys were top of the league.
He's never going to get a better situation than that.
And that's what I'm saying. So now you're going in. You have no receivers around you. You have Hawkinson, Swift. Okay, fine. You have a far worse offensive line. You have a far, far worse defense. You have a bottom-of-the-league defense. And no offense to Dan Campbell. I love Dan Campbell, but it's your first year with Dan Campbell. Let's not pretend he's a Sean McVay offensive guru, okay? And I don't know. Again, that was his best situation he'll ever see in his career.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it's a downfall for here, but he'll never reach that one Super Bowl year.
By the way, if anyone wants to join us, I just put the link in the comment section. You can come on and talk whatever. I don't care what team you like, honestly.
We're just talking some free agency.
No Eagles fans, please.
I need some Patriots fans to come in here and celebrate them taking back the AFC East, maybe.
Dude, the Patriots made such a big splash. They were not the team I was expecting.
I knew that I didn't think they were gonna be like the first team, but like I knew when they had all that cap space and Belichick was not like he went 7-9 last year. It wasn't even that bad of a year, but compared to Patriots standards, it was obviously down. But it's like when Bill had that kind of year, you've seen Buffalo being as good as they were, and even Miami, they took a huge step up to 10 wins. So I knew Belichick was going to come out firing.
Let's see. The only teams that are really making, the most moves so far is New England and Carolina.
Yeah, granted, it's still really early. Like I still expect
we're an hour in.
Drastic. Carolina's just like making.
That's what I'm saying. I think the big names usually it's not like the NBA. Like the big names usually take.
Yeah, and granted, most of these guys are probably deciding between 2 to 3 teams right now as we speak. Like, because agents obviously had all weekend, obviously, tampering, but like everyone does it in the NFL. It's not a secret. Like agents are calling people and teams behind, they're trying to figure out the market and they're just trying to, figure out what's best for them. I do hope that Thuney announces soon because I've been waiting for this guy for 2 years, honestly. Like even if he doesn't,
I know he kept getting tagged.
I want him on the Jets, but even if he's not a Jet at this point, I just kind of want it over with because like I expected to land him to get him last year, and then the Patriots tagged him last second. Now I'm not so optimistic. Maybe it's because he actually hit free agency, but like I'm just scared of the Bengals and Chargers.
Nah, man, I need Carl Lawson to sign. I need to know where he's going.
Yeah, with the Jets.
Becton's tweeting.
I don't care if it's with the Jets, with the Giants, just somebody.
So Carl Lawson's your favorite pass rusher available? Markello?
What happened?
Carl Lawson's your number one pass rusher?
Who I would want? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat.
Like him or Ngakoue.
They're both super interesting because they're both, I think, 25 or 26. We said this before when we did the free agency preview. The pass rushers, this is where the best free agency is. Like, there's tons of people here. There's 5 or 6 legit good options, and then solid veteran depth. Like Justin Houston's out here. I know he wouldn't be to a team like the Jets or Jacksonville, but you're a playoff caliber team, Justin Houston's still a really good situational pass rusher. Peter, are you hoping for any moves today? I know you guys have just gotten under the cap. I mean,
the only move we could really make is just bring back Jameis.
Granted, you did tag Marcus Williams, and I said that was the only possibility they had of bringing him back because he was going to get 14 or 15 in the open market.
Yeah, I know we're going to try to extend him, but
that was a shocker to me. I will say, out of all the,
I didn't think we were going to do that. But you can never expect what Loomis is going to do because the way he had a plan for how going into free agency, he knew what contracts he wanted to restructure. He knew that he would have to tag Williams. He knew what he was doing. I know everybody freaked out about the Taysom Hill thing when they first saw it.
That was
$40 million.
No, that's all avoidable though. So.
Yeah,
I know, but people didn't know that at first. So people are like, "What's going on?" This is like literally right after Drew Brees announced his retirement. Taysom Hill gets $140 million, but realistically, it's just a 1-year deal. That's $12 million.
Yeah. When I first seen that, because the void details didn't come out straight away, I was like, "Oh, yeah. Jesus, man, did he turn into Tom Brady or something overnight? Where he's a great quarterback, top 5 quarterback?" And I was like, "Wow!" And then my initial thought was, "Okay, Jameis is leaving." Or at first, I thought it was a typo. At first, I thought he meant like 4 years, $40 million or something. And then Schefter added.
Even that would be no sense. But the whole point of it was just it didn't matter. It could have been 140 million. It could have been 160. It didn't matter what the number was. It was just the fact of pushing all the cap space now. Pushing it to the future, so we would have the room for this season to bring in somebody like Jameis. What caught me off guard is I thought Jameis was by far and away going to be the starter, have the starting job, so Taysom could have, the running back role, the full back role.
I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's
all reports right now are saying it's going to be a competition.
No way you are going to tell me that Taysom Hill is going to be your starting quarterback.
I want to give Jameis a shot. I truly do.
Zero possible way.
Reports are saying that it's going to be a competition at camp, and Jameis's contract is going to show that, like his pay, what we're going to pay him is going to show that's going to be a competition. It's not going to be a situation where it's going to be like when Nick Foles went to Jacksonville and they gave him a shit ton of money just to say, "Here, look, you're the starter. Here's your respect."
If you're Jameis Winston, you're not signing in New Orleans.
No, but if you're Jameis Winston, you are.
That's what I was asking before. It was like, so the team-wise, it makes sense, right? Because you're not going to get a better team than the Saints, but in terms of money and in terms of guaranteed starter, you will get that elsewhere. You will get that with the Bears.
Go to Chicago, yeah. They'll sign you instantly.
Yeah, but go to Chicago to do what? You're not going to have as great a season as you are with the Saints, and if it's what you want to do is have 2 more good contracts if you're Jameis Winston in the NFL. Your dream is two more good contracts.
Yeah, $1 million last year. He didn't even get a contract, barely.
I know, so that's what I'm saying. So you want a prove it deal, right? Where it's going to be like a Cam Newton kind of thing where it's like, okay, come off 1 more year, we'll give you $14 million, right? And then the whole point of this year, again, it was supposed to be last year, the prove it deal, but Drew Brees ended up playing and he didn't end up starting. It was Taysom starting. So this year has to be your prove it year. And then you go sign your 4-year, however many $1 million contract, whether it's with the Saints again or if it's elsewhere because of what you do with them this season. If you bring the New Orleans Saints to the playoffs and win a playoff game, you're making as much money as you want the following offseason.
I agree, but
that's not hard to do.
Like, what do you think he's going to get a contract-wise? I think he's getting 10 or more per year. Like, even on a 1 year right now.
At least like 14.
I
think.
So you think similar to Cam
Newton's contract, it was very like incentive heavy. Like it's only, I think, a $4 million base or something. It wasn't like it's an upgrade from what he got last year, but it's not like when you first seen the contract, like I was shocked. I was like, what is this? Like 14 million. But you just realize that like, it was tied to playoff appearances, Super Bowl, I think Pro Bowl, and like playing, I think, I don't know, a certain amount of snaps. So
let me give you guys a situation, right? Here's a hypothetical. If you're Jameis, do you sign 1 year, $14 million with the Bears and play with Allen Robinson and David Montgomery and Nagy for your prove it deal? Or do you sign, let's say, 1 year, $7 million with incentives with the Saints, prove it deal with Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, our whole roster, and Sean Payton?
What was the Bears contract offer?
No, I'm just throwing up a hypothetical. I said 1 year, $14 million, and the Saints would be half that, 1 year, $7 million.
I'm going to the Bears. If you're offering me,
honestly, it's not even me being biased. If this is me being Jameis Winston,
offering me double the money, I'm going to the Bears. Jameis Winston's not the type of
money for 1 year, but then you go to the Bears, you have a bad year because Matt Nagy sucks, and Allen Robinson doesn't want to be there, and David Montgomery looked good, but you're still the Chicago Bears with no talent around you, and you have a crappy year, and then the next offseason, you'll be lucky if you get the same kind of deal. But if you go to the Saints, ball out for a year with Sean Payton and the crew, then you could sign a 4-year, however many $1 million contract you want the year after.
No, it's good thinking, but no player, as good as the Saints are, they're not going to – if it's maybe $1 million or $2 difference, okay. $7 million difference, there's no way I'm not taking that. And there's
you
no
sacrifice $7 million for over $40 million.
They're going to fire their agent if that happens.
Ryan, it's more than just $7 million. You sacrifice the $7 million for 1 year, you ball out, and then you go.
The thing is, he already
sacrificed
the year. He took $1 million last year.
But he was going to get that no matter where he went.
I understand that.
His alternative was backing up Big Ben.
No, I understand, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that Jameis already sacrificed the year. He did. He was getting paid more on his rookie contract, obviously.
Yeah, but he doesn't have as much leverage as he thinks he has.
He doesn't. There's plenty of teams that are going to pay him 10 or more per year in free agency.
But then what's going to happen after the one? Because he's only getting a 1-year deal this year. He's not signing anywhere for more than a
1-year deal. It's possible. We've seen players like Mike Glennon get signed before for $18 million per year. Anything's possible in free agency, man. Don't discount the.
Look, I'm not going to say it's impossible. I just see him signing wherever he goes. If it's not the Saints, I think it's the Saints. But I think it's going to be a 1-year deal.
I think it's the Saints too. I'm just saying if the Saints are playing around with his money, don't be surprised if the team. There's teams.
It's not even a matter of playing around with the money, Ryan. We're going to give him all we're able to give him. We don't have cap.
I meant in terms of getting in the contract, because if Jameis obviously at the market now, and if a team comes in with a huge offer, I don't think the Saints are going to match.
Well, we can, even if we wanted to. It's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of I truly think what's best for Winston. So then Winston has to go to the Saints and be like, look, I'll take less money for 1 year than signing with another team, but you have to promise me the starting role. That's the only way I'm coming back for less money. That's what I would do if I was Jameis.
And if that happens,
you have to secure your deal, secure your spot.
I'll tell if I'm Jameis and I say, okay, the Bears offer me 1 year 14, so if you don't match that, if you match it, I'll go do your quarterback competition in camp. I'll compete for the job. But if you're offering me less money than what Chicago did, then I want a guaranteed starting spot.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that as long as he's starting. I'm not playing around.
And that's what he has to do.
We're not going to do 50-50 with Taysom Hill or nothing. If Hill wants to come in, if they want to do it in the red zone package, okay. Or a 3rd down, 3rd and 1, that's okay.
Look, again, I'm in the camp. I'd rather Jameis be the starting quarterback than Taysom Hill.
No,
something against Taysom Hill. I like how Sean Payton uses him elsewhere.
Yeah, and he's still going to have a role. We know Taysom Hill's gonna have a role next year. It's
going to be annoying. Yeah, it's going to be. Don't be surprised if the first half of the game will be Jameis Winston starting, and the second half is all Taysom Hill.
Then I wouldn't sign back there with the Saints as good as the team is. I'm not doing that.
But that's why him and his agent, they're going to go to Sean Payton. They're going to be like, look, we stayed, like you said, we sacrificed the 1 year with you. We signed for the minimum. Again, I would say I don't want a competition. I don't want to know. I don't want it to be unknown. You tell me exactly what's going to do. Just tell me how it is. And I'll tell you what I want. And if it matches up, I would love to be back. And if it doesn't, I'm going elsewhere.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think Jameis is going to sign back with the Saints anyway. I'm not really worried about it. It's just the question. There's so many teams, and I feel like this is every year, but especially this year, who have quarterback issues or questions, what they're going to do.
But where else do you think? Let's say it's not the Saints. Who else could? Who's his best fit? I don't think it's the Bears.
Best fit in terms of desperation. I see Washington. I see the Bears. Those are really the only two big teams, right? Because the Colts technically fixed their problem, even though I would rather Jameis Winston than Carson Wentz right now, if I'm being honest. But Colts aren't. They already gave up all the picks and everything. I mean, you could still, if the Texans, if they are moving on from Deshaun Watson, I don't know how much money they have because I don't think they have a lot of cap space, but I wouldn't rule that completely out. But that would have to happen right now. Deshaun Watson would have to be traded soon, which I don't think is going to happen. And but as long as there's one or two teams in on Jameis besides the Saints, which there would be, there probably is an age. They probably are calling Jameis to see what's happening with the Saints. It's a possibility.
"30 minutes ago, the Jets." I know we talked about the rumor already that the Jets Trey Hendrickson, but it says the Jets really like Trey Hendrickson.
I also seen that the Jets are in on Galladay.
They're what on Galladay?
They're very high on him and very in on the market. If they did sign Galladay, it would kind of I don't know if it'd be the best fit in this offense, but I mean, I love Galladay. Had him in fantasy. He is top 10 when he's healthy, but it would remind me of when Joe Douglas signed Alshon Jeffrey when he was with the Eagles. Well, he wasn't the GM, but he was one of the big advocates for getting him down there. And Galladay's a better player than Alshon Jeffrey ever was.
So an NFL analyst just tweeted too, saying that since Miami missed out on Aaron Jones, that they're 100% going to be in on somebody like Juju or Kenny Galladay.
Here's your guy. Yeah, if Jameis doesn't sign back, then Taysom will be the quarterback, unless they take somebody.
Yeah, there's no other alternative. But you're gonna have to. Sean Payton likes having multiple quarterbacks in the room.
Easiest offer at the Seahawks at that point and make Russell Wilson their quarterback. I just can't see it. There's no way they ride out with Taysom Hill next year.
That contract,
Rams free agent safety John Johnson has a strong market, as you expect. Among the teams in on him are Detroit, Cleveland, Jacksonville, and Philadelphia. Anyway, back to the Taysom Hill thing.
Are you guys surprised? Just before we go back to Hill, yeah. Well, actually, go ahead. We'll finish Hill first.
Yeah, just to get it over with. If we don't bring back Jameis, Hill's going to undoubtedly be the starter. There's nobody else we're going to bring in that's just going to take over the locker room and know the system and have the offensive scheme built around him. So it's going to be Hill. But that opens the door for the Saints trading up for somebody like Mac Jones or whatever for that open, because Payton needs multiple QBs in the room at all times. That's just how he's built.
Yeah, I think
even when Brees was in his prime, he loved having a solid backup.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure Taysom can stay healthy for what would be 17 games now this season, and assuming let's make the playoffs. Like, to ask Taysom Hill the way he plays too, it would be a lot to ask for him to play quarterback, run around like that, and kind of be able to play every single game.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if Taysom Hill's a starter, look at the Mac Joneses, look at, even, believe it or not, look at trade scenarios, whether it's Sam Darnold or Gardner Minshew, somebody you could get.
You can take Sam Darnold off your hands for like a second-round pick.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's what would happen if we don't bring back James, which I think it's crucial to bring him back. I think the only way to bring him back is to give him the starting job, but based off of reports from this morning, it looks like they're going to compete for the starting job.
So let's just hypothetically say, all right, Jameis signs with the Bears, right?
Okay.
I actually do think Minshew can get him for a day 3 pick.
Maybe Ryan,
seventh round pick.
Minshew, when he got drafted in the 6th round, again, when Ryan said previously in the show, we used to go to St. John's and talk about all this stuff. Gardner Minshew, you had to scroll all the way down on draft boards, big boards. He was going to go 6th, 7th round, or sometimes some boards even had him undrafted. And I told him I hope Sean Payton brings him in the room. I could see him as being, when Brees is finally done, the guy after Brees. I was saying this before people knew who Gardner Minshew was. So to bring him in now, especially after he validated that, he's not a superstar, but he could play in this league.
No, that's a hit. If you hit
I'd bring him in
round 5 or 6, like Minshew can play in this league. I know he got benched or whatever happened last year. The Jaguars thought he was like their best option, so they actually benched him to not win at the end of the year last year when he came back healthy. Yeah. Like, that's how.
Well, remember, Ryan, I told you, I thought I could see him being a Pro Bowler. I think that's Minshew's ceiling, which is not bad.
I don't know. I mean, that's tough. He'd have to get on the right team. But can Minshew?
The Saints.
Well, the Saints, that'd be a great situation. But I do think
tomorrow, Michael Thomas.
I'm not going to. He did show quite a bit his first year, and then last year, obviously, the Jaguars team was bad. But in terms of like getting the best out of like DJ Chark and stuff, like Minshew was the only quarterback that was down there able to do that. So like, there's something to be said about that. That doesn't mean he's a franchise quarterback, but it means he's capable of being one of the 32, or at least he's definitely a top backup in the league.
Yeah, so I'd be having Gardner Minshew, but right now Jameis has to be priority A. And let's not count out. I understand people are going to say, "Oh, but cap space is a myth." Russell Wilson needs to become a Saint.
Let your mind just go off.
Look, if that happens, then
ride the wave.
Are you expecting like a Tebow kind of year though, where it's like just magic,
just win everything?
Yeah, just like, oh my god, like he's been really good.
I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm not saying if Taysom is our starting quarterback, we're going to lose games. I still think we're going to win football games, but again, like Ryan said, you can't ask too much of him because he's still going to be running around. He is highly unlikely.
If he's a full-time quarterback, you're going to want to limit the running to an extent because he runs.
I know, and then. We have cuts. We cut Emmanuel Sanders, and even though I like our wide receiving room when healthy, We lost Josh Hill as an option. We lost Jared Cook. Like, Sean Payton's going to want to use Taysom Hill and a pass catching role. So I just don't see a scenario where he's our starting quarterback for the full season. But look, you already know if he goes off, if Payton gives him the opportunity, he's going off, and we start off undefeated 4-0, and it's looking good. You already know Sean Payton's going to be the first one to leave him in there.
Yeah, that's his best buddy on the team. He loves.
Yeah,
So Markello. So we talked about the Giants a little bit. Leonard Williams obviously affecting the cap, but what do you want the Giants to do? Like, even though it might not be a lot right now with the cap space, like, is there any one or two moves that you want for Big Blue? Like, realistic moves?
If we could figure out, like, if everyone can take a restructure and we can have enough money for, like, a premier, like, guard, I'd say shore that up. Because our defense looked great last year. So I would like an edge rusher, but it just wouldn't make any sense considering we have to, pay Leonard Williams, figure out a way to get Tomlinson back too on the line, which isn't looking likely at all. So I'd say probably, shore up the offensive line, get a guard in there, and then just, help the future.
Would you be interested in like a Corey Davis or Marvin Jones for like the right price? Like, they wouldn't be big, like gigantic money.
Corey Davis, yeah. Marvin Jones, no.
Just because he's a little bit older?
Yeah. Corey Davis just because he's, a younger guy. He showed potential last year too, so.
I think he's really good number two, Corey Davis, for an offense. Like, someone who, like, he's not going to ever be a number one, like where he was taken in the draft. But last year, I think Corey Davis showed that he's a really good route runner. And I think he's a good number two in this league. And he just gets open. He separates, which is key for any quarterback. I am curious to see where he ends up.
All right, so Kello, let me ask you something. In your humble, unbiased opinion, how many more years do you think Edelman has his job for? Because I don't see the Giants turning the franchise around until he's gone. I feel like we've been saying that for 2 years now, though.
No. This is the year. I don't think him and Judge are seeing eye to eye on like what's going on. So I think, So
you think it's playoff or fired for Gettleman?
I think even if we make the playoffs and we get like a first round exit, they'll be like, all right, bro, pack your bags, you're gone.
Nah, if he makes the playoffs, he'll be safe, I think. Because
I don't think so. I think that's more of a product of like Judge and his staff. So.
Yeah, but he'll get even this year he was considered a success for the Giants because they were one game off from the, you know what I'm saying? So if they actually go over the hump and make the playoffs next year.
I'm hoping
I don't think the Giants are, just being honest. I think you're probably in the same boat, Markello, because we have Dak Prescott back. Now, Washington, we don't know what's going on at quarterback there, but if we assume they get a decent starter, I think it's between them and
I think
Dallas.
That's Sam Darnold.
For Washington?
Yeah.
Then you might have a chance at the division.
Washington has to be in on somebody because I know we're talking about like the Panthers want a quarterback and all these teams need quarterbacks, or like the 49ers, the Jets, right? But if you really look at it, even the Saints,
let's bring them
there's no other team in the league that is more in need of a quarterback than Washington football team. They literally have nobody. They have Heineke, who they just extended, but and we're not even hearing strong rumors about them. Like they are the most in need of a quarterback. You could say the Jets, but not for nothing, I'm taking Sam Darnold over Heineke right now. Darnold still has, not with the Jets, but I'm just saying in general, all right. There's no other, you know what I mean? Like, why are they not the most aggressive team? I'd rather Mitch Trubisky. I think the Bears are, obviously the Bears are in need, but they're not as in need as Washington is, and yet Washington is quiet on all fronts in terms of quarterback. So unless they're trying to be this, underground dark horse team who's going to sneak up on everybody and just nothing's getting out of the building, I don't know why they're not the most aggressive.
Well, people have linked, I guess, the Washington is like the front runners for Darnold, even though we have no information on that. Like, people are kind of connecting the dots, I guess, and saying
people are just assuming that because they need a quarterback and we hear nothing.
Yeah, from both ends.
There's no reports on it.
Washington is super interesting to me, and not just from the quarterback position. It's because we always talk about, windows, and Washington's roster is really good, and right now it's very young. So if they do actually get a good quarterback, a stable one, they're a playoff team. Last year they played, Heineke. I know it was a crazy game, but they played the Bucks really well last year in the playoffs. Like, it was a good game.
They probably were like
Can I
the
ask you
best
guys something?
team in all the entire.
They might have had like the best game against Tampa in the entire playoffs outside of the Saints. Like, they were the only legit team that I actually thought could have, like, not going into it, but watching the game, I was like, oh, Washington have a chance here when Heineke was playing so well.
Let me ask you guys something. If you're Washington, would you rather draft Mac Jones in the first round and then address your other needs later on and Mac Jones is your guy, or would you rather trade for somebody like Sam Darnold or, you know, whatever quarterback's available right now? Most likely it would be Sam because I don't know anybody else who's available. And draft like Bateman in the first round.
Mac Jones is. Like, if Mac Jones is ready for day one to like take over an NFL team, like, you draft him and you go with it. But
no. My question is, would you rather Mac Jones and then you feel like your rest of the needs in the draft, or would you rather somebody like Sam Darnold or whoever it is and Bateman in the first round and go from there? What would you guys rather?
All right, so before I answer this, in free agency, before we even bring up Bateman, if I was the Washington football team, right, because they have McLaurin, you know, they had McKissick, Logan Thomas last year. They need a little bit more, though. I would try to sound like a Curtis Samuel. Like, he played under Ron Rivera. He knows that offense coordinator, Turner down there. I think it'd be a good fit. Get him, you know, add another weapon for whoever plays quarterback for Washington next year. My answer, though, I think will be Mac Jones. And it's not because I'm even a Darnold hater at this point. I understand because, you know, Mac Jones would be a first-round pick, so it would be tough. You could probably get, like Peter's saying, a Bateman or even a tackle, some valuable position in the first round. But Darnold was so broken last year that I just don't know if he's going to be able – like, I think he would be able to bounce back, and he's going to have a better year than last year because that was just, like, bottom of the league. But – if I'm a team like Washington, I think I would want to start fresh, someone who's not damaged, someone who's coming off a good year, and honestly, someone who's smart with the football. Like, Matt Jones is limited athletically, but he always knows where to put the football. It's accurate, which Darnold isn't, and I think I'd go with that, someone who's smart with the football.
Okay, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm really like on the fence about it. You can argue almost like going with Darnold and going with Mac Jones would be kind of the same thing. Maybe even Darnold would be even worse, just like what we've seen from him.
Yeah, I think that's a point no one's bringing up about Darnold in general. So I've been following 49ers fans because ever since we hired Sal, I checked out their stuff and it still pops up across my timeline. And a lot of them were all in on Darnold at first, right, when they heard the possibility. And then they actually broke down tape and they came back the next show and like, we don't want to give up even a day 3 pick for this guy. So I do think there's a big difference between fans and how, I guess, the NFL views Sam Darnold. Because, like, right now, if I was a fan of another team and I watched him, like I did watch him, I would not give up a first, obviously no first round. I wouldn't even give up a round 2 or 3 pick. I'd give up, it would be day 3 for me. And hope. I
know, but like you said, no, finish.
No, because, like, the point is that Josh Rosen went for a second after his first year. Like, Darnold's 23. He's going to get most likely a second-round pick back. I'm just saying, like, based on his play, he has not earned anywhere near a second-round pick.
Yeah. I was just going to say the way the NFL looks at him, though, is, like you say, he's 23, and it's untapped potential.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys follow me on
Twitter.
Yeah. I'm totally on the anti-Darnold thing. I hate any possibility. And any mock draft that I see that doesn't have, like, us taking a quarterback, I just, like, I click off, like, straight away. I'm not accepting
Well, there's no reason to not move on. I don't get why there are still fans who think Sam Darnold is still a good option for the Jets. You have to start fresh at this point.
Yeah, I don't even think it's not even about Darnold anymore. I think most people, if they are in that boat, tend to hold on to, okay, let's trade down. Let's get more picks. I think that's what they want more. And then Darnold happens to be, I guess, included in that. But, like, my alternative is if we didn't have another first-round pick this year and next year, like, if we didn't trade Jamal, I would understand that more because you look at this team right now in free agency, and outside of left tackle and interior defensive lineman, this team sucks. Like, we're like being honest, this team sucks. But the thing about the NFL is you can turn it around very quickly, and the Jets have the money and the draft picks to do so, and you're going to get a second-round pick at least for Sam Darnold. It's a no-brainer. You're picking second overall. Like, is it a shame what happened here with Sam? Of course. Like, could he have been better with better, supporting cast his first 3 years and better coaching? Sure, but it didn't happen. It's not reality. And move on. Take Wilson or Fields. I don't even care. Even if they took Lance, I would support the decision. I think that'd be.
And at the end of the day, he gets owned in that division. And the Patriots have his way with him. Miami's good against him. Even Buffalo's
for 3 straight years.
Yeah, and you can blame Gase. You can blame anything you want, but there's just no reason to keep that as your starting quarterback. And then you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to be the Bears next year.
That's exactly
Like
my
with the
point.
Mitch
You can
Trubisky
build the
option.
roster, but if you're picking in the 20s or 15, you're stuck in the no quarterback land, and I'm not dealing with that. That's stupid.
The goal is to not be in the top 3 again and take a quarterback while you're there.
Which I don't think we will be in the top 3, even if we don't have a good free agency or draft, because I think
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you take your quarterback and you run.
Yeah.
New contract, and like you said, that's when you start building the team around him, and that's when you make a Super Bowl run. Because you could ask any Jet fan on the planet, do you think Sam Darnold could take you guys and win the Super Bowl? And if anybody says yes, they're just delusional.
Now, delusional. I will say this, because obviously I've been
watching that game.
Yeah, I've been the anti-Darnold, so let's pull it back here and say, all right, well, Garoppolo made a Super Bowl. Jared Goff. If you do build a roster, it can be done, but it's not sustainable. Is the point? That's not just like you can't go in every year with Sam Darnold and expect a Super Bowl. It's not going to happen.
And it's also the timing of it. He's already coming up on his 5th-year option, and the team's not around him yet. It's going to take time to put the team around him. By then, you're going to have to pay him, and you're not going to be able to put the team around him.
And Mark Sanchez said something interesting, which was true. I mean, this should not affect any coaches or GMs decision, but Sam Darnold stays back here, right? And we trade back. We do have a good draft though, right? Sam Darnold throws a pick week 1 in MetLife Stadium with the full crowd. He's getting booed out of the stadium. I'm being real. And the thing is, people are going to say that Jet fans weren't patient. We gave the guy 3 years. I'm not saying we didn't fail him as well, but we weren't booing him after 3 games. It's been 3 full years. I don't think people understand that because of the age. We're not dumping him like Josh Rosen got dumped after 1 year. And that should be the blueprint we follow anyway. Even if Sam Darnold, even if this was after year 2, I think there'd be more of an argument to keeping him. But
the thing is, you sell him now it's inevitable. He's not going to be the Jets quarterback. Even if you don't draft a quarterback at 2, he's not going to be the starting quarterback next year. So you just do the inevitable, and you could get a 2nd-round pick right now. If you wait even 3 weeks,
his value is never going to be higher than it is right now.
If you wait 3 weeks into the season, that 2nd-round value is going to turn into a 5th or 6th-round value, if you're lucky. Yeah. So you get rid of him now while you can. It's crazy that you could even get a 2nd-round pick. And I remember Ian Rappaport or Schefter, I forgot which one, a month or 2 ago was predicting that there would be a team that would even offer a late first.
If you got that would be a complete steal. You run away with that. I would take that right now.
I don't know how true that is, but if it's coming out of their mouths, obviously they've heard rumblings.
I think it goes back to how desperate some teams are. If there's 2 or 3 teams in on him, it's possible. I like the idea of someone brought this up. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah of trading pick 34 and Sam Darnold for pick 19 Washington. Trade away our top of the 2nd and Sam Darnold and get back into the 1st, and we'll have 3 first-round picks. I am so with that.
Would be the goal at 19.
See what Berger said?
What he said?
No.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah, Perryman before we went on. Yeah, on a 1-year deal. I guess I'm not going to be like most Jet fans. I don't think Perryman was that bad. I'm actually going to blame Sam Darnold for almost all of it. Sam Darnold can't connect on a deep ball. When Flacco played 3 games, Perryman looked like, I'm not going to say like an all-star. He was very good. He's scoring touchdowns.
Pro Bowl already.
As number 4 or 5 as a wide receiver, you won't get better than Perryman in this league. So.
And look,
I don't want him starting. Let's be clear. I don't want him as my number 1 or 2. But if you want to come in as a deep role every now and again, I'm good with that.
But Ryan, let's do best case scenario for the Jets. Best case scenario is you bring in Zach Wilson or Deshaun Watson, right? One of the 2.
Fields or Lance. I'm good with. I'm really
takes,
yeah.
Whoever it is, you just bring in a new quarterback.
Best case scenario is going to be Zach Wilson, I think. So let's go with him.
Okay, so you bring in Zach Wilson. Mims takes that next step, that 2nd-year jump, right? We're not asking for Megatron kind of numbers or just take a step. Yards. Yeah, right. Just in the right direction. Start solidifying yourself as a day 2 receiver where you were taken. Okay, because even Michael Thomas wasn't built in 2 years. You know what I mean? It takes time. So just take a step forward. So you have Mims. Bring in somebody if you can, whether it's Galladay or Curtis Samuel, literally anybody. Bring in somebody.
Yep. Even Juju, honestly, anybody, and then you draft 1 more. And if you bring back Perriman, like you said, at that point he'd be your 4th receiver, let's say. Would you cut Jamison Crowder if we're signing a big free agent?
Yeah.
Wide receiver? I think I would too.
Yeah, I would 100%.
Well, what's the cap hit, 10.5?
It's 10.5, and this is the problem because we're running the Shanahan system now. They don't value slot wide receivers much. I think I'd rather sign Kendrick Bourne for half the price and just cut Crowder. And I love Crowder, but this isn't like the Adam Gase offense anymore where everything's built on getting the slot wide receiver the ball, that's not how you win in the NFL anyway. You shouldn't be targeting your slot, I guess, because like if you notice around the league too, right? A lot of teams will put like Mike Evans, like their big guys in the slot, because that creates the mismatches. I think it's not that the small guys aren't valuable anymore because the Bills did it with Cole Beasley. I just think that's becoming more and more less in the league. And
honestly, I think the only way I would cut Crowder if I was the Jets.
Crowder's a good player. I'm only doing this if I'm getting like I'm talking about like a Juju Smith. Even Curtis Samuel, but I guess you could keep him in that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a possibility if we sign one of the top 4 or 5.
Believe it or not, I think I'm opposite as you as that. I think if you guys bring in Juju or Galladay, I think I'd actually want to keep Crowder.
Oh no, if we're signing Galladay, you got to cut Crowder because that's like he's gonna get like $20 million per year. You would save half of it.
No, but hear me out, because at that point you wouldn't bring in Perriman back.
Yeah, which is fine. That's not a big deal.
But the point is, you're gonna have Galladay, you're gonna have Mims, and then you're gonna have who else?
No, well, like in the draft, I can get maybe. I would still consider taking. I would take a wide receiver in round 2 or 3, especially if you're giving.
But we don't know what's going to happen. So like, because there are other needs the Jets have. You need a corner. You need edge.
No, of
so
course.
Like, you don't know what receiver you're going to end up with. So just having the safety of having Crowder, who's good at football, and he's been the best thing about the Jets the past few years.
He's a top 10 slot wide receiver in this league. Like,
yeah. So if I was me, the only way I would be comfortable walking away is if you tell me you bring in like a Curtis Samuel and draft somebody in the mid rounds.
Yeah, and they could do that.
But for the most part, if I'm the Jets, me personally, I understand people will differ, but I think I would keep James and Crowder for one more year.
It's an interesting. I mean, I'm happy with it either way. I'm not cutting him just to cut him. I'll be clear. Like we have to sign an actual player, but if they do decide to do that, and you know, almost all of Crowder's contract goes to the next player, if it's like a Corey Davis or a Juju Smith, like we said, Curtis Samuel. You know, I guess. With Curtis, I might be on your end of the stick because I think Curtis can play outside. He can play in the slot, and he can play a little bit of running back. So if they want to do that. But if they do sign Galladay, I have to cut Crowder. Like, I just have to.
I see why you're saying it, just because of the contract that you have Galladay.
We haven't been into the draft that much yet, but like Elijah Moore is like a round 2 or 3 guy, who I really like, who can play the slot. The Jets can sign Kendrick Bourne from the Niners, who's a free agent. They probably will, honestly, just sign him, or they could. Like he's not Crowder, but he's like, you know, when you're telling me he's gonna get $4 or $5 million per year compared to 10, but then again, I don't want to be cheap though either. Like I don't want to start bargain shopping because we have a bunch of money.
But that's why I think the Jets fans on Twitter are a little bit premature when it's coming to the cutting Crowder thing. I think there's no reason to let him go this year.
We'll see. That'll be just interesting to see. That's even assuming we have to land a free agent though, like a wide receiver, a big time free agent to even consider that. Because you're not cutting him just to cut him.
First 2 hours have been kind of quiet so far. Not even rumors really for like big names.
One rumor that I've seen here that we didn't mention is Peter Schrager said one team to watch for Corey Linsley is the Cardinals.
Okay.
I don't know how much. I mean, Schrager has, I guess, some sources, but he's not like a Schefter or Rappaport, but. That's interesting. The Cardinals definitely need offensive line help. We've seen what happened last year with Kyler Murray at the end of the year where he got hurt. That would be a good fit. Corey Linsley, though, is going to be paid top dollar. I don't know if Arizona can. I mean, I guess you can definitely, like we said, the year one, if they do sign him, they can, you know, play around with the cap and fix the year one, make it cheap. But I'm not going to lie to you, though, just from the Jets' perspective, if we don't sign Thuney or Linsley, like one of them, I will be disappointed because I understand there's going to be a market for all these players, especially the top of the offensive line class. But at the same time, it's like the Jets have $80 million in cap space and, you know, a bunch of holes for even if Darnold comes back, like you need to shore up the offensive line. Like there's just not to.
That's the thing. So it's obviously just the first 2 hours of free agency. We don't know who's going to go where, and then based off of that, we can make draft predictions. But even in the draft, like you're saying about Elijah Moore, how much you like him coming out, but we don't know if the Jets are even going to be taking a wide receiver in that range. Like even though
yeah.
So I remember last year in the draft, there was a lot of mocks who had like CeeDee Lamb going to the Jets instead of the tackle, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't know if that was going to happen. I thought it was always going to be tackle, but there was a lot of drafts saying receiver. And if not receiver in the first round, then definitely receiver in the second round. And even though that's what ended up happening with obviously Denzel Mims, let's not forget Joe Douglas traded down. He gave away the rights to Mims. We just got lucky that dominoes fell the way they did. If Mims got taken by one of those teams before it came back to the Jets, they might not have even gone receiver there if they didn't like anybody.
You're screwed. There's no one left.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So you don't know how anything's ever going to play out.
No, and that's a fair question or fair concern because you don't know how things are going to play out. You don't know what teams are taking who, especially in round 2. So you can't bank on that. But I do feel like there's another good wide receiver class again this year. I don't think it's quite as deep, but it's a very good class. It's one of the best. If we do over a decade span, it's probably like the 3rd best. Like it is really good. It just last year's class honestly was so good. I think it's going to be even better than the the Odell Beckham class. Like I know they had Mike Evans, Odell, but like Sammy Watkins was a flop.
Yeah, that class was more top heavy.
This one has much more depth, and even guys like Claypool are going to be much bigger risers, especially if Juju leaves. Like Claypool's and hit 1,000 yards easily. Like we have Ayuk, there's Justin Jefferson, who's phenomenal, and that's not even mentioning the top 3 guys. Like now that Dak Prescott's back, CeeDee Lamb, his stock's going through the roof. We hope Drew Lock and Denver, because Judy's definitely a very good wide receiver. I mean, Ruggs might bust. It's possible, but even if he does, it's still a very good receiver class in general. So, were you guys shocked? I meant to bring this up when I think we were talking about the Saints, but I think we were talking about Marcus Williams, like the safety market, right? That was one of the strongest strengths of free agency before the franchise tag, and then it went from Marcus Williams to maybe Marcus May hits the market, and then there was another safety, right, who's franchise tagged. Now the only one that's left is John Johnson.
Yeah, and we read off the teams that were interested earlier, right?
Yeah, Jacksonville, Detroit, Browns, and Eagles.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville make the most sense there, or Cleveland.
He'd probably get the most money from Jacksonville. The best fit would probably be Cleveland. We'll see. Brandon Graham is working on an extension with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Read that
to lower his cap, I think, because the Eagles are. I mean, the Saints have been the team talked about the most in terms of having negative 60 at one point cap space. Now they're down to
they're at like negative 33 right now.
Yeah, the Eagles are there right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Eagles are. The Saints are down to like 11, I think, or it's very close now.
No, we're closer than 11.
Yeah, it was 11 yesterday. Maybe you got even closer. Then I might have missed a move or two. But
I think after the Taysom thing, it brought us like I don't know what exactly is, so I don't want to throw out numbers, but I could have sworn I saw a report that
you're now there basically with another move or two. The Eagles are negative 33 right now. They're by far the most. They have to get under by Wednesday.
That's surprising. Donald Penn is visiting the Raiders today.
He's back.
And everybody's commenting. He's like, isn't he like 45 years old? So we'll see. That would just be a depth move, obviously, though.
There's a rumor that the Jaguars reached out to Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, that's, like you said, not surprising.
You guys we've been here for 2 hours. There hasn't been that many. I mean, granted, it's still day 1, and we started in, but outside of Jonnu Smith, right? It's been the big one.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the team. I'm surprised the Jaguars haven't signed anybody. Like the Jets, I understand, even though we have the money. Like Douglas is very calculated. He'll wait, but I guess I am kind of surprised because, like we said, we all know that teams have done this since last week, maybe even before that, where they have things lined up for a team or two. So it is surprising that there's been a couple re-signings for sure. But here's another question.
Scroll through. Yeah, go.
So obviously, players like Kenny Galladay, right? They're going to get the long-term deals. We know that. A few others, like the top of the offensive line class, but for the veterans, right? For like wave 2 of free agency. So after today, after tomorrow, maybe even after Wednesday, you guys think there's going to be a lot of like 1-year deals because of how we lowered the cap by like $30 million?
Well, yeah, that's going to be every agent's. Yeah, that's going to be every agent's advice. It's
just going to be like, because like there's been talk about like not building super teams, but like I forgot who commented. It was a player did it like 3 weeks ago. It was like, yeah, we want to go to like Arizona or something like on like a 1-year deal to try to like go all in for this year. I don't know if it was Arizona. I just remember someone, maybe it was either a former player or something. They were like, yeah, I think players should just go some of the veterans should go on like a 1-year deal, maybe not take the most money they can get. I think they were talking specifically about players who've already been paid, not free agents who are hitting the market for the first time, trying to get a big contract. Like the players who've already gotten big contracts, who are free agents and can still play, like all kind of navigate toward a Green Bay Packers situation where you're expecting that team to be in the playoffs. Let's sign a 1-year deal here and try to get them over the hump and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're always going to have that every year. I think, like you said, now more so than others, just because of the cap situation. Then you show out 1 year, then you sign one more contract, 2-3 year deal worth some money year after.
All right, let me throw this at you, right? So we've been talking obviously about free agents. There's been a couple draft talks about Trey Lance in here and a few others here and there. Do you guys have any kind of because every year we always get a big trade, and it's usually probably tomorrow, Wednesday. The one that, like DeAndre Hopkins last year, crazy. It's just every year something happens. Odell a few years ago to the Browns. Do you guys have any kind of guesses of who that player might be this year? Like a player who hasn't been talked about, like Sam Darnold's not going to count as a surprise. Like it could be any position, like any player, maybe even a player that you want to be traded to some other team. Like
honestly, does Odell Beckham Jr. count again?
Yeah, I was going to say Odell probably.
Odell again. I actually think he might stay in Cleveland. But yeah, I guess you can say Odell.
I'm just trying to think of
who else is in a bad situation?
Yeah, it's tough because these are moves that you never see coming. So it's just kind of, I asked you guys this on the spot, so we didn't really give you time. I have a feeling that Michael Gallup could be traded, and he's not a star name, and he's not making any money for Dallas. But I feel like the team like Dallas already has Amari Cooper, right? $20 million. You have CeeDee Lamb. They don't have a lot of cap space. I feel like I can trade Gallup, probably get around 2 or 3 pick, and maybe the late round pick, and maybe try to get more defensive help.
So I've been hearing that people want, Cowboys fans specifically, want to move on from Gallup in a little bit, or relatively soon. I just don't see why that makes sense.
Allocating what you have, because that's obviously the best trio in football. I don't want to take it away. It's just his Gallup's probably not. He's not going to resign, I don't think, in a year or two because they won't be able to afford him.
I think he's 2 years away, so I don't know why you would trade him prematurely.
Just try to get defensive help.
Have to. I know. Again, I think it's another premature move, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I would be interested to see if Dallas would do that. I'm not saying I necessarily would. I'm just saying it's something for me to think about if I was a Cowboys fan. But then again, what you're saying is true. You have to assure me it would have to be a high second-round pick, a quality, where I know where I'm going to get a certain range of players.
Yeah, if you're Jerry Jones, you're not going to be out shopping him. But if you get a call and you're just blown away by the value you're getting for a receiver that you don't need, it's good to have, of course, but then that's different.
What about like you mentioned Niners, right? We mentioned Bosa before getting traded. You guys think it's not going to happen? What about someone like Fred Warner, who might be getting, he's up for a new contract soon. There's been talks about him wanting $20 million per year.
Yeah, he's not going to get that in San Francisco.
He's a really good linebacker, and the Niners, the Niners are a team, right? They're cap strapped. They're trying, I think they want to get rid of Jimmy, but they just don't have a better alternative right now. So they're committed to him. And if they lose Fred Warner because Jimmy Garoppolo, that sucks. Here's Berger.
Pat's going after Matt Judon.
Major push on Judon. Honestly, let him go there. I like Judon, but he's a good player. But the Jets can get Yannick or Carl Lawson. That's what you should be focused on. But Judon's a good player, and with the Patriots and Belichick, it wouldn't surprise me if he even becomes better than what he is right now. That's interesting. So the Patriots have been by far the most active team within the first two hours of free agency. They've been actually the only team, right, who've been signing other players but their own, and the Panthers signed 2 veteran offensive linemen. The
Somebody was saying too on Twitter.
The Panthers are interesting.
Steelers just signed their GM to a 1-year extension.
What do you guys think of their decision to bring back Ben?
I wasn't a fan of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Markello was
But
just to shed some light.
what was the
Yeah.
alternative? Mason Rudolph for a year?
Dwayne
Duck
Haskins.
Hodges? Dwayne Haskins? You would have taken that though over Ben or no? Am I just being honest? I'd probably go Ben in that situation. But that's the thing. We always mention these teams who like need quarterbacks, right? Like the Bears are the team that I don't think they already said they're not bringing back Trubisky. I don't think. Like
I saw conflicting reports with that because then I saw a report that came out after saying that it's not true and they're going to try to change the quarterback and go out and to pursue one. They're in the quarterback market, but
he's the fallback option.
Essentially.
Yeah. But that kind of reminded me of like because what you're saying with the conflicting reports, that was like Cam Newton, where like people said weeks ago that he wasn't coming back, and then I seen a report that Belichick loved him, and then obviously he resigned. So Ken Trubisky.
And then he went on that show with Chad Ochocinco, Brandon Marshall, and he was Belichick's most misunderstood
person.
That
whole thing or no?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw the snippets.
I watched basically the entire thing. It was a good interview for anyone that's interested. I liked it. It's
I'll check it out after.
Yeah, that show is interesting. Like Brandon Marshall, Ochocinco is really funny. Chad Johnson.
I was sending you TikToks from it.
Yeah, they're hilarious. His McDonald's diet, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy that he's still in that kind of shape. I think he's 45 or whatever he is now, but like he's still.
45, I think he said he was like 230.
Yeah, he still looks like he could play in the league, which is crazy.
Even Terrell Owens looks like he can still play. Remember he was posting last offseason?
Yeah, dude. He
signed him.
He's like the same kind of. I think he also eats McDonald's a lot too. It's crazy. And he's like,
something, man.
I think Cam is a vegan or something right now, or he's been that for the last few years. And he was like, and Chad was like, no, I can get you. Like, we'll go in the weight room for 6 weeks, and I'll give you the McDonald's diet. And he's like, we don't have the same genetics. Like, it was really funny.
I don't know.
And then Marshall was like agreeing with Cam. He was like saying the same thing. Like, not everyone eat McDonald's and stay like you.
Daniel Jeremiah just tweeted before, and he said that the only two realistic things, like obviously, like Daniel Jeremiah is just like the draft kind of guy. Like you're not going to look to him like you would an Ian Rappaport or a Schefter, obviously, and he has credibility here. And he said that the only two realistic options for Watson to go this offseason is either the Jets or Miami, just because of where they're picking.
Yeah. And listen, this is the same thing I was saying, Russell Wilson, where like teams want to have an option that if they trade their star quarterback, right? Because that makes sense. They would have either Wilson or Fields. But from the Jets' point of view and Dolphins, right? Does it really make that much sense? We know why it makes sense.
Don't ask me because I'm in the Watson camp.
Okay, so well here's what Watson on any team. You know that I would take Watson, but I'm only willing to go, and I don't even want to throw 3 first-round picks in. That's how selfish I am. That's how because it's not that I think that these quarterbacks can be better than Watson because if we're being honest, that's very unlikely. Sean Watson's a top 3 to 5 quarterback, but when I'm considering the contract that he has, and for the Jets it wouldn't be a problem, especially the first year. But when you consider that, and every team who's won a Super Bowl the last 10 to 11 years have all done it with rookie quarterbacks on their contract, or Tom Brady, who's not taking nowhere near the top of the market value. And you consider the Jets are picking 2nd overall, and they have their options. They can restart the entire process, have a quarterback on a cheap deal for 5 years. We have all the draft picks that we got from Jamal Adams, plus whatever we get for Darnold. I almost want to just take the rookie quarterback. I've shifted from that.
Yeah, I 100% get that, but at the same time, it's like you said, traditionally that's how it is. It's on the rookie deal, and you build the team around them. That's when you win the Super Bowl.
And there'd be an outlier like Deshaun Watson, of course, but
well, here's the thing with that, right?
You then have
that happens
on mid-round picks and stuff all the time.
When that happens, it's usually only like a one and done kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
You go to the Super Bowl, whether you win it or not, but you go there once, and then then you have to start paying people, and people leave, blah blah blah. But the only reason why that's the way that it has been the past 10 years, again, besides Tom Brady, is because you've never had a top 3 quarterback in their prime, 25 years old, whatever, available for trade. And I know what you're saying with the money, but what if it's
more so the draft,
especially because it's New York, right? Or even Miami. Let's not slouch Miami's market. No income state tax, right? And Watson can bring people in just as Brady does, just as Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? He has that kind of effect.
He can, but he it'll be like the same thing with Mahomes, where it won't happen like that. Even as good as Watson is, like he will get someone like Allen Robinson or Galladay to sign here, but they're signing at market value, maybe for $1 million cheaper, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be. So I want to be able to build a culture like the Bills just did. Like they signed back Milano below market value. They got back Feliciano, who's a decent guard, for pretty good value.
Yeah, they did it the right way, the traditional way, like we just said, the past 10 years.
They drafted all these guys. They got their rookie quarterback in Josh Allen. It worked out. I want to do like that, like, and then re-sign guys who want to be here and will take below like a fair deal, but like at least $1 million or $2 million below than what they could have got. That's the way I want to.
It's just it's easier said than done.
Of course,
the issue.
When you do get Deshaun Watson, it's straight up, let's go win right now. Like everything changes, expectation changes. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying you then have major. Like I almost want to have the draft picks. Is like when people say that the Jets need to build a team, they're not wrong when they're talking about keeping Darnold, because, like I said, this team sucks right now, and it's not like. And Deshaun Watson would instantly make the team better, of course, but like the holes are still here, unfortunately. Like Deshaun Watson's not going to come here and then cover up all the holes we have on offense and on defense, and then you take away your ability to fill in those holes. That's just like the thing.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but Texans expected to sign former Bills Pro Bowl Andre Roberts. Not huge, obviously, but it's the first news we've got in like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and then again,
the Texans are very weirdly active. Like these aren't big names, but like the Texans are like. Are you guys surprised with that? I thought they were going to kind of like sit out for agency.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like their front office, like these are grown men. They've been around the business and the league for like over the course of decades, right? So
yeah.
They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. They know how to do their jobs. It's just, and it's not their fault, the whole Deshaun Watson situation. They inherited it, right? So
I feel bad.
Ownership and Bill O'Brien.
David Culley, did you see that interview? I just feel bad for him.
So
people are like,
that's why I think they're not stupid, and that's why I think they know come draft time they need to trade Watson. Holding on to him is not going to help their team.
I think they've come to that realization. I'm just not sure because we mentioned like even Miami. I think Miami make more sense than the Jets to me right now, and I don't want that to happen. As a Jet fan, of course, I don't want Deshaun Watson in the division. Just from where they are as a team, I think Miami make more sense. But I'm not sure that Miami's not committed to Tua. Like, granted, things could change if Watson actually becomes available. Then you could obviously see that happening, and I think that makes more sense than the Jets right now. But I have a feeling, man, it's going to be like a team like San Fran or Carolina. We keep mentioning.
I just don't think they would do that. I think they would just take the Jets and their picks and Zach Wilson.
That much.
But the thing is, like Daniel Jeremiah said, like, yeah, dark horses. Carolina's making they've made it known they want Watson, or like San Francisco.
Carolina wants quarterback. We know that this offseason.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, it's like if we're gonna give up Watson, like, yeah, they're still gonna give us a good haul, but at the same time, like, we're not gonna get the quarterback we want. We're just gonna take whoever falls to us, and that's too much of a gamble. Like, we want our franchise guy. We want a new franchise guy on a rookie contract.
Then again, they could
build it our way. And
that makes sense, right? If they can get that, that'd be great. But if they can't, they're going to be picking number 1 or 2 next year without Deshaun Watson. They can sign whoever they want right now. This team, last year, they would have went 0-16 without Deshaun Watson. Like, that's how maybe even 1-15, if whatever you want to go. They got rid of J.J. Watt. They got rid of, they traded McKinney. Like, the Texans, even though they're signing some players right now, I think they're trying to build up reputation, build a culture back up with some of these guys, some of these veteran additions, which makes sense because, like you said, unfortunately, David Culley in this front office inherited some of this nonsense from Bill O'Brien, and Easter Bay's still there, whatever. I don't know what that's about. They should get rid of him, as soon as possible. But like, they're going to be picking number 1 or 2 next year without Deshaun Watson, because if he sits out, whatever, or even if he's traded, like, they're going to have number 1 or 2 overall next year. I would bet. So they don't necessarily need the answer this year. I understand it'd be better if you can, and you'd be able to sell it to your fan base more. You'd be like, listen, yeah, we know we screwed up, but we got this and this, this and this back, plus hopefully our next franchise quarterback. But I don't think, like, that's why I don't count out the San Fran, the 49ers or the Panthers, because even though they can't offer the picks that the Jets or Miami can, like the Panthers, for example, can offer like Brian Burns, who's very cheap, or like Derek Brown, or maybe even Jeremy Chin. They don't want to do it, but if they're that desperate for a quarterback, they will. San Fran, I've been saying, maybe they want to get rid of Nick Bosa, not necessarily want to get rid of him, but Maybe they're scared to pay him because he suffered 2 season-ending injuries, in Ohio State, and then last year towards ACL. Maybe they just don't want to. I mean, they messed up trading Buckner. They already signed Armstead. They're not in an ideal cap situation, so maybe they have to, whether it's him or Fred Warner, they're going to teams can get creative and send back the team. Teams who are picking either 8 to anywhere from 8 to 16. They can't offer the picks, but they can offer like high quality players who are cheap for right now. That's certainly a possibility.
Well,
Do you agree or not? I always see the Jets in Miami, and I know why. Because
no, look, I agree, but I still think the premise still is like if you're going to trade up your franchise guy, like if anybody in the Houston front office, I know how like not secure my job is. And 1 year of winning one game like Jacksonville just did, like I could lose my job in 1 year.
But they won't.
I'm not doing that.
New coach and everything, new coach, new GM. So like they wouldn't get fired even if they went.
The way the NFL is now, we see it all the time. 1 year coaches.
No, that was only one thing by Vance Joseph. I think that was the only time they also had expectations though with Josh Rosen.
I know, but whether it's Arizona or Cleveland, like it's just more common now for these things to happen.
You gave me 2 examples, but Freddie Kitchens was an interim head coach who had like chemistry.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it, but it still happens.
But
I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
They won't fire David Cole.
If I'm them, I'd rather just get the new replacement now. I don't want to wait a year.
But like what I'm saying is, it might not be an option.
Yeah. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, they're just going to take the best offer for them. That's what it's going to be. And now, Markel, are you on Twitter right now?
No, what happened? I just literally just got off.
Yeah, Rob Gronkowski. Not that it's a big thing. He's expected to stay, obviously, with Tampa and Tom Brady. He said he wants to, but he says he's never been a free agent like he has now, and he wants to dip his toes into free agency and see what's out there. He wants to see what it feels like to be sought after, whatever. And he said, if there's a better deal, whatever, but he wants to be back with Tampa, he says.
What do you think a contract would look like for Gronk? Because he wouldn't get them in.
I truly don't know.
Like 2 year, like I don't even know what to give him at this point.
Like 10 million maybe? Or is that cheap?
Yeah, like 2 year. I was thinking like 2 year, 8 mil.
Something like that?
Maybe. But I do think even though he wants to be like I guess sought out after, I do think he would only go to a playoff caliber team. I don't think he's interested in joining.
He's not leaving. There's no way.
And he's only won his whole career. That's all he knows. And he's not going to leave Tom to go chase a bag or whatever. I think he's going to stay in Tampa regardless. But
yeah, like he came out of retirement for Brady, and he's only going to go back into retirement after like Brady says, "All right, bro, you could leave. Like it's your time." Yeah, Twitter.
Corey Davis just posted a picture of him and his kid on a plane.
Yeah, he said he was throwing out the peace sign, I think, like his exit from Tennessee. We need one of those. I want one of those dominoes to fall. I'm surprised the pass rush
teams are predicting
started off hot with Shaq Barrett and Romeo Caro, and we heard some rumblings about Troy Hendrickson possibly signing with 3 or 4 different teams. But
this is what I wanted to mention before. It just came out a minute ago. Trade rumors. Chiefs in a primary competition to sign 49ers left tackle Trent Williams.
Oh, there you go.
And that makes sense because you have to sign one. The Chiefs they're making their primary competition. That's what the quote said.
Did they say a deal or no? Like how much?
No, it just says that they're interested. It has nothing to do with prices. It's just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
primary competition.
I think they have $20 million in cap space. They're gonna have to give all of it, then again, they could structure it differently. But he's gonna hit. I think Trevor Williams. I think he's gonna hit $20 million per year.
And he's gonna want the money. He's not gonna take less just to go to Kansas City. He doesn't care where he plays.
I have a question for you guys.
He doesn't care. He wants the bag.
Jonnu Smith got how much per year exactly?
12.5, I think.
All right. So what is Hunter Henry getting?
Same kind of price.
I think
10 to 12,
even a little bit higher.
Maybe really? Because like we were saying before, I said to John, like if a team envisions how they use him, he's gonna get paid more than what people think. And then he obviously got this kind of contract where it was more. Like Hunter Henry right now is probably thought as the better tight end, but I don't actually think he is the better tight end because he doesn't stay healthy all that often. and he can't do the yak things that Jonnu can do for an offense. Like Hunter Henry's really good when healthy. He's, especially over the middle of the field, up the seam, even in the red zone. But I'm not going to ask Hunter Henry to break throw him a screen pass and ask him to break tackles. Like, he's not going to do that for me.
Yeah.
There's
injury history.
I don't know if this is true. So this guy named CJ Golson, he does not have a blue check mark, so this is probably fake, but it says National Insider. He did college football for whatever. It says sources, Jaguars and Ravens are close to a deal that would send DJ Chark and draft picks to Baltimore for tackle Orlando Brown. Jaguars looking for protection for their future franchise quarterback, and Baltimore gets Lamar Jackson, an alpha wide receiver.
That's crazy.
I don't know if that's true. That's just like –
that would be crazy.
DM it to me on Twitter. Let me see it.
Yeah, DM it to us. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I have that in the camera.
It does not mean anything. We see this all the time, especially on free agency, the people who make fake accounts. This is a real account. He's been here since 2014. I just don't know if he's credible.
The comments are saying that it's fake. Well, actually, no. I have no idea. There's no way of knowing because I don't know who this is.
There's no way of actually knowing. If this did happen, though, what would you guys think? Because this would definitely give Lamar a good wide receiver, a big body wide receiver, which he needs. Orlando Brown, I think, wants to play left tackle. Like he's made it clear that that's only what he wants to play, right? He and Baltimore want to get good value for him because they obviously already have Ronnie Stanley. That would be crazy though, right? Because I would still want Chark for Trevor Lawrence, I guess.
Oh, I think this guy's legit.
Unless they're signing back, unless the Jaguars are signing Kenny Galladay, I don't see why you would get rid of Chark. But from the point of view from Orlando Brown,
this guy's legit.
Why do you say that?
Because he broke the Jonnu Smith news. What is that? 40 minutes before Schefter.
Yeah,
he's also saying other stuff. So let's take this with a grain of salt. That's
what I said. I said I don't know if this is true or not. All I'm saying is, to Markella's point, whether this guy's right or wrong, he's not a troll. Like, this is an actual account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like he might have might have a source or two.
Yeah, so let's take it with a grain of salt. Let's just roll with it just because there's nothing else to do until news actually breaks.
So
he's saying that the Patriots have reached out. He's saying that the Patriots have reached out to Kenny Stills, more to come. And he said, don't be surprised if Joe Thuney ends up re-signing in New England, as a text he got from a well-connected agent.
Patrick Queen retweeted that tweet.
Oh, what DJ Chark with the eye movie, yeah. Yeah. He quote tweeted
it. What do you think about that one?
That's crazy.
Sign back Thuney, the Patriots. Apparently this morning that they kind of reopened talks, but apparently they were pretty far off on value. I would be pissed off, I'm not going to lie, because he actually hit the market this time. There's teams who are definitely talking to him and his agent. It's one thing if we all offer the same thing and he signs back with New England because he's comfortable there and, he got the same money from all 3 or 4 teams that are in on him. But like the Patriots have, I feel like they have their offensive line already in place. They traded for Trent Brown. They have Wynn, the tackle they got from Michigan last year, is going to kick in the guard. David Andrews is also a free agent, so like he could possibly be re-signed. Like the Pats they already have a really good offensive line, so would it make sense for them keeping Thuney? Of course. They of course have Shaq Mason, who's getting paid top dollar at right guard. It would kind of piss me off, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I do want the Patriots to be as good. Sources tell me New England feels that they're close on landing Matthew Judon from Josina Anderson right now.
So this guy, this is the same guy that we told before that we don't know with the grain of salt. He's saying that
the Packers.
For who?
He's saying the Packers are talking to like multiple wide receivers right now.
He said that people aren't expecting it, but Curtis Samuel's going to get a monster deal, he said, in the next coming days.
I see that coming too, because
he says he predicts the Packers, but that's not official. It's just his prediction.
For Curtis, I see Washington as like Washington, Jacksonville, or the Jets. Possibly Miami too.
And you said in quotation marks, a crap load of teams have checked in or are pursuing Curtis Samuel.
Did you guys hear me before? It looks like the Patriots are closing in, or they feel like they're close on getting Judon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the Patriots, man, they've been swinging, man. This is unlike anything the Patriots have. I mean, granted, I don't think they've ever had this much cap space, but this isn't what do you call a typical Belichick offseason.
So this guy actually looks well connected because he tells you, like, he doesn't name the sources, but he says, like, it's either, like, he doesn't say he's friends with Schefter or anything. He says, I'm friends with an agent. And that's very realistic to be friends with an agent and not, like, somebody in the thing. But he has a lot of Patriot sources, apparently. Because now another tweet I'm seeing, it says, after talking to my source within the Patriots front office, I could confirm that they have at least touched base with the Jaguars regarding a deal for Gardner Minshew. They're not done adding at the QB position.
So how would you guys, how do you feel about the trade for, we'll go with Baltimore first.
I like it.
Would you rather that than to pay a Kenny Galladay or something? Because Chark's going to be still cheap for right now.
Yeah, Chark's going to be super cheap for right now, and it helps you address other, like, spots. Like, you're about to lose Judon. Probably going to lose Ngakoue.
I think you're going to lose both of them, so.
Yeah. So
yeah, right.
I like it. Depending on what kind of picks they're getting, because right tackle is still an important position.
Yeah, of course, but apparently, if he's only willing to play left tackle, there's nothing really they can do about it if he's going to sit out or something. So
yeah,
to get back a very capable number 1 or 2 wide receiver to pair with Hollywood Brown to give Lamar actual weapons, pair him up with Mark Andrews, start opening up the offense definitely a lot more. It's a shame that. I mean, for Orlando Brown, I would just play him left tackle in Jacksonville. Yeah. But would you just rescind the tag then on Cam Robinson? Because I didn't understand that one, the franchise tag.
I wouldn't rescind it.
Oh, they have Jawan Taylor on the other side, or would you just switch over Cam to right tackle?
You could switch. I think Cam Robinson probably better suited as a guard anyway.
All right, yeah, we can do that.
Like
the Jacksonville suddenly have a
right guard something.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I guess
he's saying with that Chark deal that the sources are accurate, that it's actually happening. The talks with Chark to Baltimore, and picks from Orlando Brown. It's just a matter of whether the teams can get the cap right. So that's what's being worked out right now, is making the cap fit.
So Ian Rappaport apparently just said on NFL Network that the Kenny Galladay market is probably 14 to 16 range, and it's lower than what people are expecting, which is actually pretty wild. I would do that then if that's the case, but I was expecting close to 20 because apparently he turned down a $18 million per year offer from Detroit during the season last year. Like I don't know if that's because he wanted out of Detroit or if he was expecting more. It's probably a combination of the both. But if Galladay's market's really only 14 to 16, I would jump in on that right away.
So let me ask you something then. If you're the Jets and it's only 14 to 16, would you offer him the 18 just to put yourself over the hump and have him say yes to you right away?
Instantly, yeah, I would.
You would just say 14.
No, because that's a $2 million increase or a 3 or maybe even 4 if it's only. I mean, I don't think it's 14. I think it's 15 or 16 at the the minimum. I'd be willing to go to 16 and a half, maybe outbid someone by a bit. I'm not willing. Like I know everyone says the jet tax, and granted, we probably will have to pay a jet tax for some certain free agents. It makes sense because our team's not established. We're not winning. Right now we're a very bad team. But I don't want to get because you often get stuck in that label. Like I want to, and it's probably going to cost you some free agents as well. I just don't want to be in that mindset. Like we'll throw our pitch in there. I'll offer maybe a little bit more, but not $2 or $3 million per year more. I think that's what happens and I don't think this necessarily applies to Galladay because I do think Galladay would be a great fit for any offense. I think whoever gets him is going to be really happy, assuming he stays healthy. But if you're outbidding your opponent by any single, like when the Jets got C.J. Mosley, right? Awesome player, right? Unfortunately, he got hurt and then he opted out. But the Jets outbid, like it was between Jets and Baltimore. The Jets outbid them with Mike McCann by $3 million per year on average. and you just can't do that. Like I think it's just dumb to build your team that way.
Vikings, the pass rushers just came out now 40 seconds ago.
The Texans got another player from the Patriots, I think, or Dolphins.
Who?
Linebacker, Camus Gruger Hill. He drafted Nick Caserio drafted him with the Patriots, so he's reuniting him in Houston. They're trying to build that reputation back up, the culture. Like we said, I am like, even though these aren't big signings, I'm surprised that like the Texans are kind of this active.
Anyway, Daniil Hunter is exploring a trade request from the Vikings.
You know, I was actually going to mention him as a possible when we're talking about who could be traded from a star point of view. Like, I don't know if I wouldn't do this if I'm the Jets because of where we are, but any team that's like even close to the playoffs and they need a pass rusher, they definitely should explore that because he is really, really good and he's young. So, but I don't know.
I'm refreshing the timeline right now and just like nothing pops up. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I have my phone out here. It's just weird. I mean, did you see that tweet from what was it, Sports Update, where they talked about the signings? Like, what was the first signings for the first for like the last 3 years? Like, who was the first big signing in terms of timestamp? And it was like, all right, 12:15. One of them was 12:10. 3 years ago, it was like 13 hours. It was like Case Keenum. But I think I would like wouldn't we remember that if that happened? Like, I don't remember waiting 13 hours for like a big free agency signing. You know,
dude, we've been waiting like 2.5.
I know. Well, I will say we're gonna do we'll do it like the end of the week, probably like Friday or something. We'll do like a recap of everything that happened from today all the way to Friday because obviously there's going to be major moves and a ton of moves that happen, additions, trades. We'll do all that. We'll recap it all on probably Friday. But yeah, whenever do you guys want to end soon, or it's up to you guys?
If it's up to you guys, you want to end now, and then if some big name happens, we can just do a quick either live stream or episode.
Yeah, I'm good with whatever you guys want to do. You want to wait like 10 more minutes and just see if anything else happens, and if not, we'll call it a day and we'll come back Friday or something.
Yeah.
I feel we went through a lot of topics in 2 hours. Like we went from free agents, even though none like no big names technically signed. We talked about possible fits. We really talked about all the kind of like the top 10 options in terms of where they could land or some interest that's been popping up across Twitter. They're saying Russell Douglas. He has a strong market right now. So yeah, Hunter, like you said, what you guys talked about is possible. He wants, I think, out. He's 26, and his last 4 years when he's healthy, he had 12.5, 7, 14.5, and 14.5 sacks. So he is a premium, top of the chain, one of the best pass rushers in the league. Maybe that's why the Vikings are looking at Trey Henderson. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're connecting the dots. We're like, all right, unfortunately, Hunter wants out. We're probably going to have to trade him.
Well, it didn't even say that he demanded a trade yet. The wording was he's exploring a trade request. So he's just.
No, I'm just saying, like, maybe they knew this behind, not that trade's imminent, but like maybe they're exploring that it possibly is, you know? Or maybe they just want both because last year, obviously, they traded for Yannick before the season and they traded him to Baltimore, but Jason Verrett's heading back to the Niners on a 1-year deal.
All right, they get one piece of the secondary.
If he stays healthy, like he was really good last year with them, so that makes a ton of sense. I'm sure it's pretty incentive heavy because we know his injury history, so he'll probably have to play a certain amount of snaps and games. But San Fran needed that. Like I know they're waiting for Trent Williams, but sometimes you just have to like pivot and make sure that you're not losing out on some of your key free agents.
It's not a big deal, I guess, unless you're a Rams fan, but The Rams are extending a first-round restricted free agent tender on standout cornerback Darius Williams.
He actually had a really good year last year. So
Yeah, he did.
yeah, that's big for them.
I'm told CB Jason Verrett is returning to San Francisco on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I just mentioned it. That's a good one for them.
I thought he was going to walk, but I guess
So did I.
They were bound to keep one of their people, I guess.
Where's Mitch on? Who, Trubisky?
He's in a backup somewhere.
Well, the thing is,
Honestly,
we don't know. So we have to keep the door open for Chicago, but then you can't cancel out teams.
I'm going to say not the Bears,
Washington.
though. I'm going to explore. I'm going to try to be cool here and say that the Bears do something else at quarterback. Anything else? I feel like Trubisky will go to
backup or starter.
Backup, but maybe with a team that doesn't have like uncertainty at quarterback, where he might view himself as a potential starter, in time. I could see Denver, San Francisco 49ers, because Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt every single year.
The Colts.
Yeah, if he thinks Wentz sucks, might as well go down there.
You never know how Wentz is going to turn out.
What do you guys think of that? Because I obviously made that short video on it, but I don't think
I think it's very 50-50. I think it could be like new scene, gets his head right and plays like how he was playing in like that Super Bowl season, or it could be more of the Carson Wentz we were seeing that's just having like a mental breakdown on the field and doesn't know what's going on.
And do you think the Packers get – I'm guessing he means Will Fuller?
Yeah, I can't imagine. I think he's going to ask for a lot of money.
Well, there was a rumor, right? Who was that agent who he said Curtis Samuel, right, to the Packers, or no? That's a rumor. That's not confirmed. Yeah. That's like a possibility. So if they're looking at that, I guess it's possible. Like they were willing, right, to trade for him at the trade deadline last year. I think the Packers, but I think Texans wanted a second-round pick, and the Packers weren't willing to dish that out. I mean, it's possible, but for Will Fuller,
we saw a report from that page that the Packers are going to explore all their options, including Fuller.
Oh, is that including Fuller?
It's just going to including Fuller. So I guess it's just going to be whoever they could get on the cheapest deal.
Matt Judon apparently sent the text that he's still on the phone. So nothing's completely like solid yet.
So Verrett only got worth a $5.5 million base, which I think is an incredible deal. I know the injury history, but just in terms of when he plays, he was really very good last year, probably a top 10, 15 corner. Yeah, what you're saying, I see the Judon stuff now. And that Will Fuller, man, that would be crazy because he had such a good year last year with Deshaun before he got suspended. I do think Will Fuller is suspended the first game, I think, of the season, but you still have him for. I mean, he usually never plays full 16, but you hope that you have him for the rest of the year plus playoffs if the Packers do sign him. He's like, Mitch kind of sucks. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky sucks.
So Nick Underhill, like one of the primary, beat writers for the Saints, he says this about Jameis Winston. Says obviously the Saints want to keep Jameis Winston around. They like him, feel he has a lot of upside, and believe he could be a starting quarterback. New Orleans has stated all of these things on the record. Behind the scenes, they have already made an initial offer to the quarterback, but judging from what I've heard, is the starting point. There will probably be a limit on how far the team is willing to go to keep Winston.
But that was Markel's point earlier. We were talking about what a team like Chicago could offer him. It's like, how much more is it? Because like what you're saying, Peter, it makes sense. Like the Saints are a team that I'd be willing to take $1 million or $2 million or $2 million less.
Yeah, even like a $4 million cut, I would take. But
I wouldn't do 4 either. I think 3 would be like my absolute.
Well, no, you got to figure he's going to sign a 1 year this year, so.
But I think he can get not even long term. I think he can get a 2 or 3 year contract from some team. I do.
But just based on the cap situation, you probably don't want to.
Depending on the team, like the Saints, probably not because they're
no, not even that. Like we just lost so much money in the cap for every team this year, so I'd probably wait.
Yeah, and even a team like Washington might only want 1 year because they don't know if Jameis can actually be the answer. It's just like we're gonna take the gamble.
And especially for the quarterback position, bro. Quarterback money is crazy money.
that him and Adams would be great. But yeah, if Will Fuller and Devontae Adams are on the same field, Aaron Rodgers might win MVP again if he stays healthy and his offensive line holds up. But I wonder, do you guys think Will Fuller would actually be the difference in the Packers reaching the Super Bowl? Because I don't necessarily think it was their wide receivers last year. Like MVS, I played really well in that playoff game.
No, I know, but if you're in the playoffs, like you said, if you have Will Fuller next to Adams.
Deshaun Elliott just said, "Speak it into existence."
That tweet about Chark or no?
Well, he didn't retweet it, but he's referring to that tweet.
Okay.
And then Patrick Green retweets it with like a trophy.
Well, maybe when there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe there's a little bit.
Yes, bro. When there is smoke, there is definitely fire.
Maybe that's happening.
Ain't no smoke without a fire, bro. So
that'll be a big one. I'm with you. I really want to I want the Joe Thuney, man, and Corey Linsley. Like, I'm just waiting as a Jet fan, man, because even if I'm expected to be disappointed, I am, but I just want to find out already. You know, I want the Jets to make a move already. I don't even care if it's a re-signing. Just do something. Like, it's been almost 2.5 hours, so.
Watch, as soon as we end this, like, Matt Judon's going to sign.
Well, we've talked about him. If that happens, I'm not going to be that disappointed. That's why I want to hold out, but I don't want to do it all day. But I do want to have one more massive signing before we head off.
Brandon Graham's new deal with Philadelphia will be a 1-year extension with close to $20 million over 2 years.
That's kind of news.
Did how much? $13 million. Did it say how much it freed up or no?
No, not yet.
But that obviously was meant to free up the cap. All right. We got a question. You think Jaire Alexander is better than Jalen Ramsey? It's a tough one. What do you guys think?
Up there.
I think they're both top.
Yeah, they are.
I think Alexander. Well, Ramsey was also really good last year. I think Alexander's been better over the last 2 seasons if you count both of them, but I'm not sure that I would take him over Ramsey. But they're both top 3.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and I love the way they both play, man. It's like they get into it with, especially Ramsey, but Alexander does it too. It's like they chip away at their wide receivers. It's great. Trubisky. Nice as fuck, though. I love him. I don't want to pay the position, but I like him. Who are you referring to?
So you guys think OJ Howard's going to get cut?
Cut? No.
You don't think so? I mean, I think they were gearing towards it last year, but then he got injured.
You could trade Howard for something, even if it's a day 3 pick. But if they're going to lose Gronk, you might as well just keep him. Like, he was starting to show something with Brady before he got hurt.
Yeah, that's a domino. It's not going to fall right away.
Trying to 30 minutes time. Yeah, if you're live right now, apparently I don't know if you heard this part, but apparently his market's only 14 to 16 per year. If obviously we're Jet fans, so I'd definitely be in on that. Even though he's kind of similar to Mims, like, I don't care. Like, Galladay's a really good player, and especially if we're getting someone like Zach Wilson who loves the that's probably who it's going to be, for being honest. At least a 50-60% chance of that, maybe even more. I'm just trying to be generous. He loves the back shoulder throws, the tight window throws. Like, Kenny Galladay is one of the best in the league at that. So That'd be a great fit. Even though maybe not necessarily in the Shanahan, you would just we can find a Rondell Moore two thing to do some of the gadget plays. That's fine. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly a carbon copy of what the Niners did. Like when we have Mims, and like he's not really. If you compare it to Debo or Ayuk, he's not going to be that kind of guy. But we don't have to have that kind of offense either. We can adjust it and make it into our own. So. What do you guys think of the running back market? Like Aaron Jones signed for 12 a year, right? Do you guys think we'll have any? Like no one's gonna come close to that, I don't think. But
no,
like,
not even.
No,
who's gonna be like? Who's gonna be the next highest paid running back? Is it gonna be Carson or like Kenyon Drake or something?
I think
Probably
Carson will get more than Drake would.
Kenyon
How
Drake.
much are you thinking? Like 7 or 8?
In the range, yeah. I don't think they reach double digits.
Maybe Carson will get 10.
You think
Really
so?
10? I love
Like,
Carson. It's
like
just
9,
a question.
like around there, like 9, 10.
I could see that. It's like he clearly is. I think by far the best running back left. It's just like the question of like who's going to pay him. Because I feel like some of these guys are going to get like kind of a reality check, like Melvin Gordon got last year. It might not be Carson, but like it's probably going to be Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake for sure, dude. I think he's like fishing for crazy money, but he's not going to get it.
Carson?
No, Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I don't think Drake's going to get a big contract at all. I think he's going to be like disappointed because last year he was on that. What was he on not a franchise tag? He was on some kind of
Transition tag.
Yeah, so he got paid a decent amount of money last year, and I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that.
They might not even bring him back. Honestly, they might just roll with.
I think they're going to bring him back. Honestly, because like they have Chase Edmonds, like you said, and they could draft the guy in like round 2, or they might even just sign another free agent. Honestly, because like last year they were kind of force feeding him the ball; it wasn't going well.
Yeah.
Miami would be the only team I see. Like we talked about, Aaron Jones. I could see them giving out money to or a decent sized contract to like Chris Carson or something. The Patriots tweeted out about an hour ago a picture of remember their dog when they were on the Zoom draft. Yeah, they're making all the moves right now. That's funny.
This was a quiet free agency so far.
Yeah, honestly, I knew it was going to start off slow. That's why I didn't want to start this until like noonish, because like obviously, like we said, a lot of the first big waves don't happen typically in the first hour, and it didn't. I thought maybe by like 1:30ish it would start to really like heat up, and it really hasn't.
Danielle Hunter could possibly hold out or demand a trade if he isn't given a new contract with the Vikings.
I mean, that's relatively big news. It's just hard to be excited about that right now when everyone's waiting for free agency signing, you know?
Plus, I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams who are going to be willing to trade a high draft pick and to give Danielle Hunter like $18 million a year.
So right now, from some sports betting website, Kenny Galladay's favorite, like the odds, are the Giants are number 1 and the Jets are number 2.
Really?
Yeah, and the Dolphins are 3.
No Jacksonville?
Patriots were Hunter Henry's favorite, but I think this has to be before free agency started because that doesn't make sense. I don't think they're going to – I mean, I know they like to maybe get 2 of them, but you just paid Jonnu Smith. Jaguars are plus 1,000, so they're kind of – they're number 6 here.
Yeah.
Juju Smith's currently favored to be the Jets, but it's really close between the Jets and Raiders. Granted, this is just Vegas odds. I don't know. These probably aren't that accurate. And Clowney's probably – I think Clowney's the favorite to be either a Raven or a 49er. But I don't think he's going to sign for like a while. So
We'll wait a few days for the season to go.
Apparently, Washington's interested in Mitch Trubisky and Ryan Fitzpatrick. So we did have a Mitch question.
We actually have Washington rumors finally?
Yeah, it's from JPA Football, and he said Ian Rappaport said it. So
if they're interested in Mitch Trubisky or Ryan Fitzpatrick, you have to think they're looking at the first-round quarterbacks.
I mean, Sam Darnold's available, but unfortunately, you have to give up picks for him. If I'm being honest, I would rather sign Fitzpatrick because like he's been playing pretty well when he plays the last couple of years. You get him, you don't have to give up any draft picks for him and try to win. Granted, it's not ideal and it's not like flashy, so it's definitely not going to appease or like make the fan base feel good. But
well, my thing is, look, they extended Heineke, right? So Heineke's already going to be the backup. So they're just looking for a starter who could win games. I don't know why Sam Darnold wouldn't be their favorite with Ron Rivera, but I don't know why Ryan Fitzpatrick would be either. I would rather Mitch Trubisky for what Washington's trying to do right now. No,
honestly, I'd rather Fitzpatrick because I feel like I know he's a gunslinger, but it's more exciting. I feel like Fitzpatrick can win me a game or two. I don't think Trubisky
But
can.
Isn't the goal to try to hit on some kind of untapped potential?
With who, Darnold or Trubisky?
With anybody you bring in. Like, we know what Fitzpatrick is. I'm not saying Fitzpatrick's bad, but we know what he is, and you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No, of course not. But I don't know.
I'm not saying you will with Mitch Trubisky, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying like the goal is to hit.
At a certain point, though, like, what is the potential with some of these guys? Especially Trubisky. Like, I know he didn't have the greatest offensive line in Chicago, but, like, you know, you had people complaining about him left and right, whether it was Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller. Like, they have some decent targets down there, and it just never got – like, the Bears have better weapons than the Washington football team does on offense. I don't think that's unfair to say. And I love Terry McLaurin, so if you want to cancel this out with Allen Robinson, okay. But, you know, Washington don't have a number 2 wide receiver right now. Like, they have Cam Sims, a few others who are in and out. You know, Logan Thomas had a good year last year, but, like, if I'm comparing the Bears' weapons to Washington, I think the Bears are better right now. Granted, if Washington make a move in free agency or they sign a Curtis Samuel or something, okay, I'll give you Washington as an edge. But just right now speaking –
well, the thing is, earlier it was rumored that there are like 8 teams interested or in on Sam Darnold or, you know, considering it. If this rumor's coming out that Washington's interested in Fitzpatrick or Mitch, what would the other 8 teams be? I can't think of 8 teams that would be in on Sam giving up, you know, a second-round pick just to have him be a backup. So it would have to be a team that needs a starter, and there aren't 8 teams.
Yeah, I don't know if there's actually 8 teams interested. That's probably the Jets leaking some of that stuff. I can't. Like, we've talked about teams possibly being in on a quarterback. I can only really think of 4 actual teams that could send an offer. That's even including the Saints because you just don't – like, Jameis I think will resign, but if he doesn't, then it's a possibility. I guess you can count Pittsburgh, right, if they feel like this is Ben's final year. Haskins is a complete flyer. Like, he has immaturity issues. Maybe they don't view him as anything other than, like, just a possible option or a possible backup in the future. You don't know. And then we said Washington and the Bears, so – I don't really see any other teams that could trade for him other than maybe Houston if they trade Watson or Seattle if they trade Russell Wilson. Of course, you throw him in the package, but like there's not that many teams, honestly. Like 8 teams is a lot of teams, man, especially for what the Jets want for Darnold and we're probably going to get. There's not 8 teams that are going to send. You know, 8 separate teams are not going to send a second-round pick. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's nothing breaking. You guys want to wrap up?
It's up to you guys.
Also, I'm saying, do you guys want to wrap it up for now, and then if something big happens, we can hop back on later in the day?
Yeah, sure. If not, I mean, we can talk during the week. If you guys are free, I'm also willing to do this any other day this week. Well, yeah, obviously, we'll have a recap sometime this week, probably Friday, maybe even Saturday. But if you guys want to hop on again, you know, I'm good with that. Any other?
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I really hope when we don't end this right now that big signing happens, but it probably will. And we had fun. But let's go out. Let's get free agency really kicking off soon.